Okay.
All right, now we're safe. It's being recorded. And welcome, everyone, to our session today on Humanizing your online course. Or don't be a bot. Your students, above all, in an online course, crave attention from you. The number one complaint people have about online courses is the feeling of psychological isolation they get. Particularly in a course, and I will tell you, without naming names, I'll tell you I've seen way too many online courses like this at the SDCCD. And I tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and mute everyone. We've got a little background noise there. You can unmute yourselves to ask a question. I've seen courses where they basically ran on autopilot. It was like there wasn't an instructor, you know, it was my whatever lab was providing all the instruction and the exercises and the quizzes and the assignments and all that. And there was never any communication between the instructor and the students, much less between the students and students. And it was just a very sterile environment. It was like the students were totally on their own. And that's not a good online course. I won't mince words with that. This isolation that students feel is the thing that drives them out of online courses faster than anything, because they just don't feel like anybody cares. They don't feel like they're making progress. They don't feel like they're learning what they should. They're not getting any reassurance or feedback or whatever. And that's a recipe for disaster in an online course. And it's quite counter to accreditation requirements as well, and good practice and every other good thing associated with online learning. So a critical factor in your student success is how much of you they see and feel and hear from in that online course. They need to feel that it's being taught by a human being and not by a robot. And they need to have some contact with their peers as well as they would, you know, coming into the classroom before class, and they form friendships, they form study groups. All those wonderful things that happen in a classroom can be done in an online class as well, but too often they're not. So the subject of today's seminar is how to avoid that sort of thing, to avoid that isolation, how to humanize your course. Let me go ahead and share my screen here. I'll be doing a fair bit of that as usual. Bring over my outline here. We often say the three most important things in an online course are communication, communication, and communication. And not just communicating subject matter either, but communicating with your students to let them know that you care, that you're concerned about their progress, that you are doing everything you can to make it possible for them to make progress, and that you're encouraging them when they have difficulties, which they inevitably will, we all do, and that you're there to ask questions of and to commiserate with appropriately. You can't let it take over your life. But they want to feel your presence in the course. And they want to know that they're not the only student in there, that there are that they have their peers that they can communicate with as well. So there are things that you can do to make that sort of thing happen, to minimize that psychological isolation. And we're going to talk about some of those things here today. And I'm going to keep this handy on another screen so I don't forget something I've meant to say. But we're going to start off with some simple stuff. Let me pull up Canvas here. I'll just pull it up on that tab. Why not? And get this out of the way. Okie dokie. There we are. The first thing you can do seems simple and like it shouldn't make that much difference, but you can show your students what you look like. Remember, an fully online course, they're never going to be in your presence. They're never going to see you in person. And just seeing what you look like makes more difference than you'd ever think something like that, simple like that, would make. And there are, of course, a number of ways you can do that in Canvas. The easiest thing maybe is to go to your account settings and go to your profile and put up a profile image. It can be something humorous from time to time. You can change this as often as you like, but they really want to know what you actually look like. To do that, you just mouse over this. This will just be a silhouette if you haven't done this at all. And we've got this pencil icon. If you click on that, you go to a profile picture tool. And sorry about that. Amazon is telling me they're shipping me stuff. Thank God for Amazon. Most commonly, you'll upload a picture. If you're not in the middle of a Zoom meeting, you could actually use your webcam to take a picture right then and there if you don't have a handy snapshot, but probably you do. So you can upload a profile picture just by clicking on that button and choosing that, and then click Choose a Picture. That brings up a File Explorer or Finder dialog box, and you can then look for wherever you might have your pictures online. Let me see if I've got myself here somewhere. I think I do. A lot of pictures over the years. A lot of them having to do with Canvas, go figure. There I am, that'll do. And open that. And then you have this little crop tool that allows you to make it a little bigger, a little smaller, and move the window around so that it doesn't cut off your ear or something like that. So you just click and drag that circle around and increase or decrease the size a little bit depending on how much extraneous background you want in there, and then just click Save. It uploads the picture, and there you are. And that when you post in a discussion forum, when you grade something, and at other times, your picture will show, and they know it's you and not some disembodied robot.
Dave?
Yes.
Would you change that through the course?
Oh, that's up to you. Yeah, that's, you'd have a smiling face one day, or a stern face right after they've just taken a test and not done very well on it, or something like that. Yeah, you could do that.
Okay, the other thing when you were on that, if it said take a picture with your computer, would you have the same choice the same steps you went through to pull
Yes,
something?
other than that, it would be the same steps, right? You would get the little preview, and you'd have that circle that you'd move around and make bigger and smaller depending on how you need to crop the image and what the background was and so on. But yes.
Dave, last night, I could not put my picture there. It would show up down here, and then we couldn't get it in the little circle that has the profile picture. And the woman I was talking to said, oh, are you using, what are you using? What is your, so I'm using Safari. Oh, it won't work with Safari. You've got to turn to Chrome. So then I went to Chrome, opened everything
I have
up,
my doubts about that.
passwords, and it didn't work with Chrome either. In fact, I couldn't even get into
No,
the
there's
Miramar
something
website.
else. There was something else going on. There was something about the picture itself.
Well, I tried many
far,
pictures. I put the Bride of Frankenstein in there. They didn't even want that. I mean, I could not get a picture in that circle last night. Tears.
I am not, we just have to try it live, but generally, all I can say, generally it does work, and it shouldn't really, any browser, Chrome, or not Chrome, but Canvas should work with any major web browser.
Keep trying.
The new Edge. I wouldn't use Internet Explorer with it. If you have an old PC, I'd try to find something else. But Edge, Safari, Chrome, Firefox all work perfectly well with it.
Mine didn't have take picture. It said upload picture, but it didn't have if you could go back to where you put your picture.
Did that computer have a webcam?
Yeah.
If for some reason Canvas wasn't seeing the webcam. Webcams can be difficult sometimes.
Okay.
But that's how it should work, and it does vast majority of the time. Okay, so you can put your profile picture in.
Dave?
Yes.
I just wanted to point out to Randy that that's an example of one of the type of tech things we have to do in the course, and how it usually is not too hard. We have really good instructions and people available. I just didn't want Randy to worry about how technical.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Okay, another thing you can do is in your courses, you can have an opening page. It works to just have your modules there. But this is kind of a sterile thing for the students to see right off the bat. This is just the facts, ma'am, and get going, and let's not shilly-shally around. But having an opening page pop up that includes, among other things, probably a picture of you, or perhaps an introduction video, which is even better. And it can be more extensive than this, obviously. I've just got the title of the course and a couple of links and a video. You might also have a description of the course and a list of course objectives and just a general narrative about what you're going to be doing in the course. Or you may have that in the introductory video. But some sort of contact with you just right off the bat, as soon as they get into the course. They should really see you, or see some nice, and maybe some nice background image or something like that. You can do all that using the rich content editor in Canvas by creating a page like this that is welcoming. You can add video. I'm not going to try to do a rich content editor tutorial today, but this is a basic text editor that will also allow you to embed video, links to content outside of Canvas and inside of Canvas, and embed still images, type text, and so on. You can put a nice little opening page together, and when you save that page, you can go to your Pages tool in the course menu and view all pages and select that page by going to the context menu for that page and select use as front page. Obviously this one's already set as the front page. You can set a page, any Canvas page, as the front page just by clicking on the context menu for it and selecting use as front page. And then this little label appears here. And then you go to your home link in the course and you go to choose home page in the taskbar over here on the right, and you make sure that the page that is designated as the front page is what's called the course entry point, the first thing that people see when they enter the course. There are other options, including the course modules, which is the default in the shell. So you have to choose a page as the front page and then select that as the entry point as well, and then save that change. And then when the students first enter the course, they'll see you first thing. And maybe they'll hear from you first thing in a nice little introductory video, which they can play.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Introduction to Screencasting. Screencasting is about the simplest multimedia production technique I know. All you're going to be doing...
I think shut you off when they're when they've heard enough too, but making that instant contact, that makes a huge difference.
Did they automatically caption that for you, Dave?
YouTube did, sure, yeah.
So you got that from YouTube. What did you click again to put a video in? You went by kind of fast. You went, oh, click.
Oh,
click for a photo?
Add a video, to embed a video like that. If the video's on YouTube, all you have to do is go to this Insert Edit Media tool.
Okay.
And paste the YouTube share URL for the video into this source box here. Let me see if I can find something real quick on YouTube. Something more interesting than me, preferably.
Zucchini growing. Oh my God. Like we need that. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay, all right. Very good. That works. I just go to where I've got the video stored on YouTube. I go to the share button below the video, and I copy this share link to my clipboard by clicking the word copy. Then I go back to Canvas and I paste that into the source box and click OK. And there, zucchini growing right on my home page.
Good luck.
Yeah, right. I don't have much luck with zucchini here either.
Oh my God.
So, you know, and we'll talk in a minute about how to make that video. Okay, because that's, I hope to spend most of the time today talking about video, because there's nothing that humanizes your course better than them seeing and hearing you. But that's fine. So that is easy to do.
Dave, I have a quick question.
Go right ahead.
Is your front page synonymous with the home page? Or not necessarily?
Well, that's just semantics. The front page is the page that shows up first when you enter the course. I just called it my course homepage, but that was just me naming it that so I'd remember what it was.
But in the certification course, we had to make a home page.
That's what this is, yeah. That's
All
what
right.
that's what we're.
Okay.
This is a homepage indeed. He said. There. That needs a little work now, but I'll clean that up later. It's not a bad idea too to provide a little bio somewhere. You usually say something about yourself the first day in the classroom, right? Provide them with that as a file or a page in Canvas. It doesn't have to be anything too extensive. And another good place to put a picture, put your contact information here, how you want them to contact you and where they can contact you. Though usually they'll just do it through the inbox tool. Canvas is pretty good with that anyway. And maybe a little biography. Doesn't have to be anything extensive. They'll just something that sort of establishes your bona fides and you know, try to be as supportive and concerned as possible and so on. The things you do up in front of the class at the first day in class. You might even put a little video here. Video is good. Once you're in the course and the course is running, you can keep you want to keep communicating with your students, and you have the usual Canvas tools for doing that. You have announcements, which are like emails, only you don't have to send them to everybody. Everybody just sees them when they click on the announcements tool. Or generally with a course, when the student enters a course, if you have a home page set, at the top of the home page, they'll usually see the first 3 or the latest 3 announcements that you posted, so that they can click on them and read them. Or they can always go to the announcements button in the course menu and read them. And everybody sees announcements. You can type a message, you give it a title, you type a message, you can attach files to it if there's something they need from you in the way of a file. You can put links in it to stuff within your course, like if you have a quiz that you want them to take, like the syllabus quiz, you can put a link to the syllabus quiz in an announcement. And then just click on that link and go straight to it, rather than having to go search for it or go find it in the modules or anywhere else. So announcements, regular announcements, are a great way to keep yourself in front of your students. So I've had people tell me, well, gee, I don't want to bore them, or I don't want to over communicate. Trust me, you cannot over communicate in an online course. They'd much rather have you doing that than not hearing from you, I assure you. And even if they moan and groan a little bit, they really will appreciate it. You can also, of course, use your inbox tool to send messages to the folks in your course. Most of these courses I'm in here don't have students in them. But there's one that does. Test students anyway. So I can send a message to students in this course just by clicking on the little recipient icon here and selecting students. I can send to everybody very quickly, or I can select individual students to send to. If I check this box, it's effectively a blind carbon copy, so that people don't know if other people got the message or not. You put in a subject and a message. You can attach a file. You don't have the full rich content editor here, so that you can't like send a video very well or anything, but you can attach a file. You can in fact record a video. We'll see this tool in another context later, but this allows you to record a video right from within Canvas and then send the message.
Dave,
and you can do that, and it takes very, very little effort to do that. Yes, or time.
You had your document screen was on top of what you were doing.
Uh-oh. Really?
Did anybody else get that, or is that just me? Oh, no, that's me. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, thanks for letting me know, though. I appreciate that.
Well, I can't see
what's I've been known to do that in Zoom.
Yeah.
Very good.
Oh, well.
You can also, within your course, you can also create discussions specifically focused at communication, rather than students submitting activities and things like that. It's common, for instance, to have a question and answer form where students can post their questions, and you can check it periodically, or you can subscribe to it so that whenever anybody posts to it, you get a message with their posts so that you can read it and you'll know that there's something waiting for you there. This is a great way to cut down your email load. In an online course, email can run your life. You get so much email from students that it's difficult to keep up with. telling them to put their questions in a forum, in a discussion forum like this, allows you to control that a little better. And it gives you the advantage that you're not the only one to see those posts. Their peers will see that too. And about half the time, before you even see it, somebody else in the course will have answered the question. And good part of the time, they'll even get the answer right. So it can save you a lot of time dealing with questions. Obviously, the inbox, the messaging tool, is better for things that are more personal. A student would certainly not put personal information in a public forum like a discussion topic. But if they just had a question about the course, then that's something that would very appropriately go there. And you can, of course, create as many discussion topics as you need to or you want to, and they can be used for anything that you like, including assessment, of course, but they don't have to be assessments. They can just be communication tools that are focused on a particular subject or whatever. And this not only allows, and if you moderate these, you take a look at them periodically and participate every now and then, the students really feel your presence in the course. But it also gives the students a lot of opportunity to communicate with one another, which is another of those accreditation requirements we have, and another one of the things that makes a classroom course so special. The students get to know one another. They can work together. They can just share, become acquainted personally. And that's a very important part of a college education. Some of those friendships we form in the classroom last us for the rest of our lives. And you want to give them the opportunity to do that in online classes as well. And a well-chosen set of discussion topics can help with that.
Dave?
Yes.
I wanted to just add that I use this as a form of office hours.
Yes.
I just created it for the fall. So that I did a little blurb. I did a little picture of some coffee cups, and I call it Coffee Talks with Dr. B, and told them how to use it. But I encourage them to search for their question first in case it's already been answered.
Right.
Same format. So
good point.
And then it helps also to kind of document any office hour time. And like you said, if it's already been answered, you don't have to answer it again. I think that's really. That's
cool. So,
Dave,
it puts you in there. Yes.
I'm sorry. What does it mean? What is a pinned discussion?
Pinned discussions are just discussions that appear at the top of the page in the discussion tool, so they're easier to find.
Is that's different than what's under discussion?
Yeah, that's the only difference. They're all discussion topics. It just, if you want to put a discussion up there, you just click the context menu next to it and select pin.
Okay.
And that moves it up so that they're always right at the top of the screen and featured.
Okay, thank you.
Also,
Dave,
among the pin discussions, you have the option to manually govern the order that they appear in. With the other discussions down below the line here, they're just ordered by recent activity. The ones that have had the most recent activity appear higher up in the list. And you can't control the order of these. It won't let you move them around. Yes.
Sorry, in terms of students getting to know each other and talk to each other, have you ever seen anybody have a discussion that's just like chit chat, or, not necessarily talking about this math class or anything?
I have seen instructors create discussion topics specifically for that purpose. Just a general get to know one another discussion.
Good.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Remember, a record of everything is kept. So if someone becomes inappropriate, you'll know it and know who it was.
Yeah.
And let's face it, you can't stand around and listen to all their discussions in the classroom. I mean, there's always a possibility of someone harassing someone else. But here you'd have a record of it, and you'd know who did it. And you'd
Well,
have
you can set some
documentary
ground
evidence
rules
of it.
or something, you know.
Yeah, you
at the
want to set
beginning.
some ground rules. You want to have a netiquette page in your course, which gives some guidelines for behavior online, including, of course, appropriate communication. And that's covered in the training course as well. But that kind of interaction is wonderful in an online course. And it makes the experience a lot more personal, a lot more human. We get back to the topic of the seminar here. Great idea. Great question. Okay, so these are tools that you can use. And of course, the discussion topics are, when someone posts to a discussion, they have the full rich content editor. So they can include not just text, but static graphics, video, YouTube videos that they find. They can even make a little video message. And again, I'm going to show this tool once today in another context, but this tool crops up in a lot of different places with the little, looks like a little TV screen with a right pointing triangle in it. Is the record upload media tool, which allows you to record from your webcam and drop it right into anything that uses the rich content editor. That'd be a discussion post, a Canvas page, and instructions for assignments, tests, things like that can all have this rich media in them. That's why they call it the rich content editor.
Dave, may I ask a question?
Of course.
Okay. When I'm in that box, and I've been in it for modules 1 and 2, I find that the screen jumps, not letting me type. So what I did is I typed everything Word and pasted it in. Have you ever heard of that problem before?
Occasionally, Canvas can get jittery.
Jittery, that's a good word.
Yeah. Probably that means that your computer, the first thing I'd try, and when that happens, is rebooting your computer, because that can be a signal that the operating system is getting a little, it's dying. That load of the operating system is dying on you. That's particularly true with a Windows computer if it's been on for more than a couple of days continuously without being rebooted. If that doesn't cure it, I'd try a different web browser, because there may be something wrong. Or first I'd update the web browser I'm using, make sure I have the latest version. And if that doesn't help, I'd try a different web browser and see if that doesn't fix it.
Well, for the
Because
certification
it
program.
shouldn't do that on a regular basis.
Well, for the certification program, is it okay that I cut and pasted my paragraphs?
Oh, that's always fine, yeah.
Good.
And there are advantages to doing longer bouts of typing offline and then pasting it in.
It was easier
the
for
rich
me.
content editor, because the rich content editor has a limited amount of patience with you sitting there and staring at the blank screen until beads of blood break out on your forehead.
That's a good description.
Yeah, I've been there. Web editors, if they sense that you're inactive long enough, they'll think you just walked away from the computer, and they'll terminate the connection between the editor and Canvas, your copy of the editor and Canvas, because if those connections build up and they don't get turned off, it can affect the performance of the server. So sooner or later, they're going to cut you off. And if it's just inactive because you've typed a bunch of stuff and you're sitting there and trying to decide what to type next, if you wait too long, when you get to the end and you hit post reply or save, it can just throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're going to be typing for an extended period of time, or your students are going to be typing for an extended period of time to satisfy some assignment you've given them, it's probably best that they not type online live in the rich content editor. I don't know exactly what the settings are, you know, how long it's going to give you, but I sure wouldn't let it sit there for more than 15 minutes with stuff in it that I wanted to keep.
Okay, thank you so much. You've given me some good ideas. Thank you.
Good questions.
Dave, how does
plus that would help you, that would help you save it, because for those of us who are still, you know, not done here, that would be a process, that would be a way in which to save everything we've done.
Exactly. You've got a local copy of it. Very good.
Yeah.
Important.
Okay.
I had a question about, almost all the questions I answer are math.
Right.
And what can I do in this rich content editor for math?
You do have a math editor.
Oh, good.
It ain't the greatest one in creation, I'll tell you that.
It's okay. The math is not that, I mean, it's statistics, so it's squares and square roots and fractions and not that exciting. It's not calculus.
And it does sort of emulate LaTeX, if you've ever used that.
I have. I use it in WebAssign.
Any mathematician will be familiar with that.
Yeah.
So you can switch it to advanced view and it's better. But that is always a challenge.
Yeah.
As you well know. And the pasting that in you may have limited success with. So,
well, what I do sometimes is I write it out on paper and I take a picture of it and email it to my students.
That would be another option too. Or you can just
or I could even paste it in here, right?
Exactly. You could put it in here as an embedded image.
So that's an option.
Or you could you could upload it as a file and put a link to it in a module. So yeah, that's to tell you the truth, I prefer to do it by hand.
Yeah.
And take a picture of it. If I'm doing it asynchronously, I take a picture of it and post that. And if I'm doing it synchronously in a Zoom meeting, I use a document camera.
Yeah, right.
And I write on a piece of paper rather than trying, because at their very best, these equation editors are cumbersome.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you anything.
No, I use the ones in PowerPoint all the time. And
yeah. So I'm real big on pencil and paper when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Appropriate.
But it's good to know that it's
for
there.
the application.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so a lot of this discussion we've had so far about humanizing your course has centered around video. So I'd like to spend the rest of our time talking about how you can create videos and how you might use video. And we've already talked about the introduction video. I know it seems like a rinky-dink little kind of passe, kind of hackneyed, but it really works. Students love it. They love seeing you and hearing you. It really cuts down that psychological isolation they feel. And there have been lots of studies done on this sort of thing. So it really does help. So a little bit of a warm, welcoming introductory video for your course is well worth doing, and it's generally so easy to do. That's the purpose of that 2.7 assignment in the training course. It's designed to make sure that you know how to do that. Even if you choose to do nothing else with video in your course, you know how to make an introductory video. And I'm not going to try to reproduce that assignment right now because we don't really have time. I'll just say that there are two very easy ways to generate, or the two easiest ways, I should say, for generating an introductory video. The first one involves your smartphone. if you have one, and a frightening percentage of us do. I hope you're not, I learned a new word the other day, I hope you're not spending too much time doom scrolling on your cell phone. You know, scrolling through news feeds, going, oh, God, that's terrible. But it is a very useful thing. You can take videos with it, and you can put those videos onto YouTube very quickly and easily. And we have lots of tutorials, and I've covered that in other sessions, so I don't want to take a lot of time to do it right now. But that makes it real easy. Though, to tell you the truth, I think probably the very easiest way to do it is what we're doing right now. I'm recording myself talking right now. And all of you sitting there listening, some of you looking like it's imminent that one eye may move over to the other socket. I know, I'm sure I'm putting people to sleep here, but you know, all of that's being recorded on the Zoom screen right now. And you can just start a Zoom meeting with nobody in there but you, and record you talking to your students. And if you record it to the Zoom cloud, which is the default in the Confer Zoom accounts that you get for free from the State Chancellor's office, it'll automatically go up to the Zoom cloud. And when you're done, and in a few minutes, you'll get an email saying, "Hi, your video's ready, and here's the link to it." And after a few more hours, you'll get another video that says, or another email that says, "Oh, we've captioned the video and it's ready. You know, the captions are ready." And then you can safely post it to your online course. You can link it into your online course so that your students can play it and see you. The one negative with using the Zoom cloud for that, for me, is that you can't do what you saw me doing on that, and I'm going to remember to share my screen again. Look at that. I tell you, maybe I'm not quite ready for the scrap heap yet, though that's highly questionable. Let's see. Oops, that was a different canvas. You can't do, if you have it in the Zoom cloud, I haven't figured out a way to embed the video so that when the student first drops into your home page or into a welcome page that you've put in a module or whatever, they don't see you right away. They don't see the video or see a frame in the video right away. They just see it if this were a video in the Zoom cloud, you just have to have a link to it, like one of these. And it wouldn't look as engaging because the Zoom cloud doesn't provide what are called embed codes for the videos. So that's why this one's on YouTube for me. It takes a little bit more doing to get the video onto YouTube, but whether you do it with Zoom or you do it with your smartphone, it's not that difficult to get that video onto YouTube. And we have tutorials showing you how to do that on our on-demand website at sdccdolvid.org, San Diego Community College District Online Video. That's what that stands for, obviously. And you can search for instance, Zoom recording. And this tutorial right here, recording to your local computer in Zoom and loading the recording onto YouTube, will show you how to do that. Also, we have just posted some collections of tutorials. There's one on Zoom Basics, which if you click on that, you get this little spinner or a little turntable at the top. This is a collection of all my basic Zoom tutorials. And it starts with getting an account and goes from there, step by step. Most of these are 3 to 5 minute tutorials. Some of them are a little longer, but most of them are in that 5-minute range. And here's one recording to your local computer and uploading it to YouTube. So you can see how to do that as well. And linking your Zoom Cloud recordings into your Canvas course. Everything you need to know to put that intro video or any other video that you might create for your course into Zoom or into Canvas, excuse me. So we've just added that. Also, I've put in, and I haven't put it in that spinner or that slideshow up at the top yet. I need to do that. But there's one on, let me just put in 2.7. I think that'll work. Yeah. Here's another one of those on completing the assessment 2.7 in your online faculty certification course. And this one shows you, it gives you the step-by-step directions on how to do that with tutorials interspersed. So here's how to record the video on your smartphone and upload it to YouTube. Here's how to record it in Zoom and upload it to YouTube. Here's how to record a screencast in Screencast-O-Matic and put it on YouTube. Here's how to edit your captions on YouTube. And finally, how to complete the assessment. Everything you need to know to do that 2.7 assessment. Hopefully that will save you some time. And I'll put that in that slideshow at the beginning too. That'll be one of the ones that comes up right at the beginning. I forgot to do that. So all of those will help you do that intro video. Yes, ma'am.
I have a FERPA related question.
Yes.
You mentioned recording yourself alone and how that's okay to do it. But while we were just surviving in the spring semester, I had some students, they asked me if I could record my Zoom sessions when I did extra lessons and then post a video. But I was concerned that it would be a FERPA violation.
You do have to be careful about one thing if you're recording your Zoom sessions. You want to make sure if you put them on, if you record to the Zoom cloud, it's no problem because you have complete control over who can see that video.
Okay.
And you post the link to that video inside your course.
Okay.
You don't post it on a public forum like Twitter or Facebook because that would clearly be a FERPA violation. But if you post it inside your Canvas course, only your students are going to be able to see it. And they see one another in class, right?
Right.
So that there's a limit to how far we can carry the privacy efforts. So that's fine.
And if I have two, sorry.
No, go ahead.
If I have two sections of the same course, I couldn't share that with my other section. Not technically, no.
I suppose that would be a technical violation of FERPA, but
okay, I don't want to take a chance.
Students see one another. If the sections meet one after the other, they see each other coming in and out of the classroom. I would tend to want to, because you have the option in Canvas, for instance, to merge your Canvas shells. If you have multiple sections of the same course in the same semester, you can merge those shells together, and so that you have one shell that everybody has access to. And that's never been deemed a FERPA violation as far as I know. So I don't see why having a Zoom meeting that had both of your classes in it at the same time would be a problem.
Okay, all right, thank you.
But what you want to be careful is if you put that up on YouTube, be sure to select the unlisted privacy option on YouTube. Don't make it public, because then that would be FERPA. You'd be in FERPA jail for sure. But if you make it unlisted, again, it's a situation where only the people that you give the link to can view the video. And if you only provide the link from within your Canvas course, which is password protected, then you're complying with FERPA regulations. At least that seems to be the way everybody feels about it.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I suppose
so much.
we'll find out when somebody gets sued. But I
Hopefully
don't
I'm
think
not.
it very likely that's going to be you. So I wouldn't hesitate to do it, quite
I
frankly.
have a question, Dave, in regards
Yes.
to that similar situation. I have a video that I would love to show in my Canvas shell to my students in regards to some community service activities they can volunteer for. And one is, it has a lot of children in it. Is there any way that I can mask over their faces?
Yeah, it can be done technically. That's a good point. Is this video distributed publicly though?
No, it is not. It's going to be strictly
in
on
that event. Yeah, I think that's a legitimate concern. That would require some video editing. You can blur sections of the video for a certain period of time. And that requires a video editor of some sort to do. That's something, that's an interesting project. I'd be happy to talk with you about that offline. And or after the seminar or whatever. And yeah, it's not that hard to do. It might be depending on the number of children and how much they're moving around, and how much they're how long they're on screen. It could be a bit tedious, but it's doable, and you're probably wise to want to do that.
Okay, I do have one that shows two students chair siding with each other with a patient in the chair, but I've got their consent saying
as long as you've got a release, you're golden.
Yeah, I do have that. Okay.
Oh, good. You're fine. Cool. Neat ideas. All of it very humanizing, I might add. These are wonderful, wonderful things you're bringing up. Thank you. Okay, let's see. I'm still sharing my screen, though I somehow canceled or moved that out of the way. Not sure how I did that. Let's get that back. All right. So that intro video is if you're not going to do any other video, that's worth doing. But there are lots of other things you can do with video in your online course. And I've said it here, zoom, zoom, zoom. And most of it you can do with Zoom. You can record lectures in Zoom. You can give lectures live. I know a lot of you have been doing that anyway. But Zoom is as you're experiencing right now, Zoom is an incredibly powerful virtual classroom. You can do so much of what you do in a physical classroom with Zoom. And sometimes your students can see it and hear it better than if they're in the classroom. So in some ways, it's even more effective than a classroom. So you can do live lectures. But it's generally considered that in a fully online course, that students have the right to do things on their own schedule. Now, I don't know if that's codified anywhere or not, but I will tell you that if you try to require people to be online at a certain time on a regular basis in a course that is scheduled as a fully online course with no class meeting times and so on, you're going to get a lot of pushback, particularly from students who are used to taking online courses. They're used to being able to take the course on their own schedule within limits. I mean, you set due dates and things like that. They can't just turn things in any old time they feel like it, but they can do the work at 3 o'clock in the morning if that works better for their schedule and their biorhythms and so on. And it will for many of them. And for some of you, I know I get emails at all hours of the day and night from some of you. So it's nice. That's one of the primary reasons people take online courses under normal circumstances, because they fit into their schedule better than anything else. And you can't really eliminate that for them, and you can't require it. Either you may not be allowed to, depending on your departmental rules and so on. And even if you are allowed to try, you may not be very successful at it. But with Zoom, of course, you can also record your lectures. And you can post those lectures in your Canvas course. You can link them in. If they're on YouTube, you can embed them, just as I embedded them in that, in this website that I maintain. And those are gold, both in terms of instruction, because it's, for many years, it was somewhat fashionable in online education circles to denigrate the value of lectures as means of providing information, like that was old hat, or there were better ways to do it, or that's so 20th century. But darn it, it's been working since, at least since the 16th century in Europe, and it still works. And it's still a great way to engage with your students, to humanize your course. If they see you lecturing, it makes a huge difference. I think a lot of the reason that it was unpopular for so many years was it was so hard to include video lectures in your courses. It required a lot of expertise. It was expensive. It was hard to get the hosting, hard to host videos online. It was expensive to do it. And it was just kind of making a virtue out of a limitation to move away from lectures. But I'm sorry, I've been working in online education for way over 20 years. And I like lectures. I like delivering lectures. I think they're valuable as a way to deliver information. There, I said it. And with Zoom, it's really easy to record those lectures and link them into your Canvas course so that your students can watch them on their own time. Yes, I think I heard a question there.
My course is listed, both Neil Kendricks and I are teaching film, and we have class time. Our class is listed as a hybrid.
Well, if it's listed in Canvas that way, then yes, indeed, you can require the students to be online at a certain time.
Well, we Zoom every Monday night.
I will tell you that you will still get some pushback, and you'll still want to record those sessions for the people who don't attend for whatever reason.
But if they don't attend, they're marked absent.
And you can do that, indeed.
All right.
But in a course that is coded as a fully online course is most likely not going to have any class meeting times scheduled. And then you got another situation. You can set your own schedule, of course, and offer the meetings live, the lectures live, but you have to understand that some students are going to choose to watch them recorded. Or not at all. Hopefully that won't happen much. And of course in Canvas, if they're linked into Canvas, if they don't watch it, you'll be able to tell. So.
Yeah, I had a question about that. Last semester, I recorded all my lectures as soon as we went online and followed all your instructions, posted them in YouTube, and then took the embed codes. And so it worked great. Right. Mm-hmm. It was fabulous. But I definitely had a lot of students who were not able to come to the regularly scheduled, that we used to have, the regular scheduled times because of COVID-19, because some of them had to leave town, because some of them lost their jobs and then got new jobs who didn't care that they were in college.
Or had to
So
go back
there
home
was,
and live with mama.
yeah, I mean, there was all this reason for, you know, for the flexibility. I
Right.
still prefer them to be at the lecture,
Of course.
but you know, you can't really interact if you're not there, but they did watch the videos. And
you can set up, remember, you can set up discussion topics where they can interact later too.
Yeah.
Asynchronously.
Yeah, some of them had a heck of a time just getting internet. So, you know, it's really hard to require them to be on at a certain time.
That's right. That is right.
I mean, otherwise, I would never teach this as an online course.
Well, I tell you, there have been lots of studies done on the effectiveness of online education versus classroom-based. And they've looked at pure classroom-based education with no online component, all online with no classroom or with no synchronous component whatsoever, where everything is asynchronous, like Canvas only. And then at a combination, at blended, so-called blended learning, where there's some synchronous activity either in face-to-face in person or via Zoom or something like it, and the asynchronous part of the course on Canvas, where information is provided in a convenient fashion and assessment can be done conveniently and so on. And guess which one's best every time? Fully classroom, fully online, or blended?
Classroom.
Nope. Not
Blended.
by a long shot. Blended. Far better. You get far better results when basically you're using every tool you have in that situation. And the synchronous part though is so really improved, and blended is also better than completely asynchronous online. That one usually comes into third place, quite frankly. Without a synchronous component to your online course, it's just not as good as it can be. And I'm with you. I would never teach an online course without a lot of, if not synchronous activity, at least recordings of activity where some people were on synchronous and others had to come in later. But you still get that interplay, like the questions and the discussion that we're having right now. Right. That's the best part of any lecture, quote unquote, to me, is the part where the class discussion, where you bouncing ideas off one another and people are speaking up and coming up with things that I didn't think of as the instructor and things like that. So that having that part of your online course to me is just essential. And I'm finding that's an easy sell for people who are coming new to online education during this process. They want a lecture. They want to give their students the stable, convenient access to information and assessment that Canvas can provide, but they want a lecture to them too.
I just wish there was some way to get...
I have more trouble with people who've been teaching online for years who've gotten used to doing things primarily asynchronously. So
that's hard for me to even imagine, but I miss being able to see their facial expressions.
Right, and that's something you can do with Zoom if they have webcams and they don't mind turning them on.
Yeah, they don't really turn them on, you know. I was thinking about
that kind of a little bit of a hard sell.
Making them do it.
I would make sure they knew how to do it. That some of them may not be doing it just because they don't know how. And or they may not have webcams because they're hard to come by right now.
Right.
But assuming they're attending from their computers, but encourage them as much as you can, because it does make it like, here, I've just stopped my share and I can see everyone who's got their webcam on.
Yeah.
And I can see Kathy smiling and waving, and Kathleen jumping up and down, and things like that. I know, tells me so much. Hi, Valerie. Tells me so much about what's going on in the classroom. I can sweep the classroom with a glance, just like I can in a live lecture in a classroom. And you all know you can tell what's going on in the classroom,
Right.
and whether you're getting through, whether you're going too fast, too slow, whether anybody in the back is in danger of expiring from sleep apnea or something like that.
Exactly.
You put them to sleep.
I really miss that part, you know?
Exactly. And Zoom, and I'm getting that right now in gallery view in Zoom. I see that. And Zoom will show up to, I think it's 49 little webcam squares at one time on one page. And please God, you don't have any more people than that in the online class. I hope not.
Well,
and if you do, it pages. You can then slide to another page of webcams and watch them for a while. But it's just so much like the classroom in that regard. And remember, what they say about what percentage of communication is nonverbal? Anybody remember that one?
Most of it.
70% of communication is nonverbal. So,
well, what's so lovely about a film class, and this is going to be so hard for Neil and I could never do this if it was totally online. It would be ridiculous. I would go, okay, I'm retiring now. Is being in an auditorium full of faces, laughing, screaming, right. Sharing, because that's what movies are. It's a shared experience. And so we insisted that our classes be hybrids because we have to meet live, such as it is, at least once a week, just like classroom. This is a classroom. This is like you're in class. Okay. I'm sorry if you're in, Nome, Alaska, then take another class because you got to be in our class on Monday night or Wednesday night or whatever, because it's class. And we're going to watch this together.
Good luck with that. I hope they let you do that.
Yeah, we're not allowed to grade on attendance.
I don't grade on it.
Not under these circumstances, I wouldn't think.
I don't grade on it, but it's listed as a hybrid so that they know that they have to be, in front of a computer at least on Monday night from 6:30 to 9.
Hey, Dave, I've got 2 little points. I miss writing on a whiteboard or on a pad of paper, like teaching like a grammar point. Is that too old school or, something like that?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. Just a second, let me focus that. Make a lot more sense. Not at all. And there's no reason to have to give that up with Zoom either. You can get what's called a USB document camera, which is what I'm using right now, that comes with an application that displays whatever the camera sees on the screen, on the computer screen. And then when you share your computer screen with your students in Zoom, they see what you're writing on the tablet. It's very much like using a whiteboard, except it's easier to write on a piece of paper than it is on a whiteboard. We've all found that out years ago. You can draw pictures. Diagrams, mathematical notation. All far better than you can do in any other way. And I don't know how anybody teaches, say, in a STEM field without it.
Dave, could you also connect your iPad as a second screen that you
can use your iPad and put your iPad into the meeting?
Can you explain how that
share its screen with your students and do it that way?
How to connect the iPad to the Zoom meeting? How do I do that? Do I plug?
There's a Zoom app for the iPad and the phone.
Yes, I have that. But how do I connect it to my computer Zoom meeting?
Well, you don't have to. It can go in separately.
Oh.
At the same time. I can join this meeting. I think the meeting ID, you have to know that, is 391, or you have to have the link in an email.
Okay.
499-5946, I think is it. Join with video. If you're doing this in the same room with another device that's in the meeting, you have to be very careful about not using the audio because you'll get a feedback loop set up. But now here I've got this, if you go, let me kill my share here. And if you go to gallery view, you'll be able to see this. Yeah, there's Dave's phone. So I can point this at anything. I can take the, wait a minute, where's my camera flip? There it is. So that it uses the better camera on the back. Come on. Not doing it yet. Listen to me, app. There. Now, anything the phone sees, you see.
Can I mentioned the iPad because I can draw on my iPad instead of a piece of paper. That's how
Yes, and you can share the screen on the iPad just as I'm sharing my computer screen.
Oh, because somehow it recognizes that I'm the host?
Yes.
Oh, so the students...
Well, you are the host if you've created the meeting.
But I thought, well,
and
it's
I can do the...
Okay.
If I've killed my screen share here. I can share my screen on the iPhone.
Do you do a share screen from the computer or from your iPhone, or it doesn't matter?
Either.
Oh, okay.
And now you're seeing my iPhone screen.
Very nice. That's how it works. Perfect. Thank you. That's so helpful because then I can draw on my iPad. I could have the slides on my iPad potentially and then draw into it with my iPen and annotate my slides or some drawing that I want to show or
exactly.
Oh, thank you. That was very helpful.
You can also use the iPhone like a document camera. You have to have some way of suspending the phone. Oh, I need to stop my screen share just a second. Can't show you that with the screen share, right? Stop. There we go. Now I can, let me pin this video. Find it again. Stop broadcast. Okay. Now, there it is. I can put this up over my piece of paper and use that as a document camera. There's just one small problem here, of course. My hand's going to get tired, not to mention quivery. But you can do something like this. Let me share my screen again. And go to, get this out of the way. There's my document camera, another camera, and show you something here. You can also use more than one camera in Zoom. You can have multiple cameras attached to your computer and switch between them in Zoom. I had a question from somebody about that today, but let me show you what I've got here. This is a, whoop, oops. Let me turn that right side up here. I had that set so that you could see the writing properly. Okay, this is a, move it out a little bit here, and move this up a little bit. It's a little tripod that will hold a phone. I've got a phone holder here. I can just slide the phone into this, and it'll hold the phone in a position for you. You can adjust the height up and down, and you can just move the tripod around. This cost about 30 bucks. It's basically just a video light stand with a little gooseneck, and this moves around. It's flexible. So you can get the phone just where you want it, and it'll hold it there for you. And you don't have to have a USB document camera to get that same effect. Because the USB document cameras are getting hard to find. So as are webcams, unfortunately. You can also use your smartphone as a webcam. There are apps on the phone that come with drivers, interface programs you load on your computer, which will allow the camera in the phone to be used like a webcam, as a webcam. So if you can't get a webcam, you can use your smartphone for that.
Hey, Dave, I know you've given it to us before, but could we have the link to Amazon for the floor stand?
Oh, for the, sure. For the tripod?
Yes.
Yep. Let me pull that up here. All right. Yeah, I'm sharing this. Remember, let me know if I'm talking about something you can't see. Let me know. It's easy to lose situational awareness in one of these. If you've done Zoom meetings of your own, you'll appreciate that. Let me see. It was in my orders recently. This shows a certain flexibility. Talk about sharing your life with someone. Showing what you've ordered on Amazon is pretty telling. This one is the one I have. And it is no longer available. But this one is nearly identical, and it's listed as Amazon's choice, so it may even be better. But it's basically the same thing. And it works like a shot. The one I have works like a shot, and it's very well constructed. I had my doubts about, I bought stuff on Amazon that was, chintzy and fell apart immediately and so on. But this is quite a robust little stand and works like a shot. And let me give you the Amazon product page for it, and I'm going to put that in the chat tool.
Thank you.
You bet. There's chat. I see some of you have already put your names and addresses in the chat, or names and email addresses. So let me be careful in the chat tool. If you wouldn't mind doing that, if you haven't already done so, it'll give me a roster. I would appreciate that. But I'm going to put this in there. Let's see, smartphone stand. There's the Amazon URL. You can just copy that and paste it onto a Word document, or you can save the chat by clicking on the little More button down here in the lower right and just save the chat, and you'll have that stored. So that's a handy thing. The app that I've tried that worked for me that turns the iPhone into a webcam, and all of this has to do with making yourself humanly available in your online course. So we're still on topic here. Just reminding myself of that. Is called Epoch Cam, EPOCCAM. And let me get that up for you here. It's by no means the only one of these. There are a number of apps that will do this. Epoch Cam seems to be one of the better ones. And whoops, didn't mean to do that. There we go. From a company called Kinoni.
Was told they can arrange for a curbside pickup, or I can go there in person.
There it is.
Drop off the electronics.
And I'll put that in the chat tool as well. And that, I've tried that. It works like a shot. And the results are pretty good. The camera in your phone is actually probably better than the camera in your webcam, particularly if you have a newer iPhone. Mine's ancient because it's the last iPhone that had a headphone jack in it. And I do things with that and video and so on. And I refuse to buy an iPhone without a headphone jack, which means probably I'm not going to be buying any more iPhones, but what the heck. That's neither here nor there, but it works. So that's something you can do, or your students can do, if they don't have a webcam and can't get one, because they're very hard to find right now. Okay, let's see where we are. That was all a good expansion of our topic here. But let me see where we are. But you can do a lot more with Zoom than just lectures. You can hold office hours with one or a small group of students at posted times and so on, and maintain contact with your students that way and humanize that experience that way. Help sessions, exam reviews, things like that. All the stuff that you might do in class, you can do on Zoom.
What about
and of course go ahead.
Okay, what about testing? I don't know if I heard it here or somewhere else about someone saying that normally in a classroom we do face-to-face, we pass out a test, make sure students are not cheating or whatever. But
right.
Like I did my test, just doing it totally online, gave students 3 days to find the test or whatever. But I never, and I know it is possible because I've done it where I've done fully online where you can see the computers of the students when it's a computer lab. You can actually look at their screen, but can we give a test during regular class time period?
Actually, there is a way to sort of hack Zoom and give the test requiring the students all to come onto the Zoom session.
Mm-hmm.
And you can enforce that by putting a password on the test in Canvas and not giving out the password until you get them all into Zoom. And if you do that, you can have multiple people share their screens at one time, like the entire class full of students can share their screens with you at one time.
Oh. Like a gallery view?
You can page through them. You can't see them all at one time, but you can cycle through them so they never know when you're looking. And you can see their computer screen. If they share their screens, you can see their computer screen. They have their microphones on. You can hear what's going on around them. So there's nobody whispering answers to them on the side. You can't see their surroundings unless they switch from screen share to camera, just stop their screen share. But you can sort of hack Zoom and do it that way. But there are dedicated tools for this. And I think even as we speak, the new dean, Brian Weston, is in a meeting with the powers that be, talking about what new tools they're going to buy for online education. And one of the ones under consideration, and indeed is currently available to some colleges, is called Proctorial. which is a horrible sounding thing. It sounds like something you dread and you only want to have to do once every 10 years. But it's
Like an
it's a
exam plan.
proctoring. Yeah, some of you know what I'm talking about. But it's a proctoring tool that is doesn't require everybody to be online at the same time. The student basically loads a client from Proctorial that can see their screen, can see their webcam, and can listen. And it records the session. And then later on, the sessions are reviewed by human beings. As you can imagine, this tool is not cheap. And if they see anything that looks fishy, they notify you. And this tool may well become universally available at the district. I don't know. But I know it is available to some folks right now, and it's something we're talking about having seminars on as well. Some people are using it right now. So that does exactly what you described, but you don't have to sit there and while they're taking the test. And they don't have to all take the test at the same time. They can take the test on their own time, and Proctorial will watch them for you and report back to you on any untoward results. And you can go in and watch the videos yourself if you want to. So we're hoping that that will become available, though it is ferociously expensive. So I don't know how they're going to find the money right now in this situation. On the other hand, it's probably cheaper than keeping the lights on campus and things like that. So we're hopeful that that's going to become available. Great question. And when it does, we'll have classes on.
Okay.
You can do screencasting. That is, you can record tutorial videos for your students, either involving you talking to them, like I'm talking to you right now, and showing your screen, or just talking to them, or just showing your screen, whatever. Zoom is capable of course, recording, as we know, as we're doing right now. It records everything that happens in a meeting. It records when you're speaking to your students. Normally, it records that. It records all the sound. It records whatever is on your screen. If you're in gallery view, it records everyone. If you go to speaker view, it records just the speaker and a few of your attendees up at the top. And when you share your screen, it records the shared screen. And all of that, the students can, if you put the video online, the recording video online, the students can view that later. That's called screencasting, and is the best and easiest of all multimedia instructional techniques. You can teach just about anything using screencasting, because you can record anything that shows up on your computer screen, and you can record what your webcam is seeing, either at the same time or alternately. So it's a exceptionally easy, particularly with the advent of Zoom, it's a particularly easy technique to do, and it allows you to produce tons of useful instructional video with relatively little effort and time invested. A classic thing you can do with it, of course, is you can hold PowerPoint. Oops, that's Publisher, not PowerPoint. Shoot. That's not what I wanted. You can pull up your, while recording your screen in Zoom or any one of a number of other screencasting tools, you can pull up your PowerPoint presentations. And you can narrate them, recording the slides and your narration at the same time. 5 tips for listening well. And you can just page through the presentation. Be prepared, be mentally and physically ready to listen. Don't come in right after lunch where you've you've eaten the 180-ounce porterhouse down the street at the steakhouse and expect to listen. And you can present your PowerPoint presentation, and remember that the vast majority of the information that's in a PowerPoint presentation is presented in the narration, not in the slides. The slides are basically just talking points, especially if it's a good PowerPoint, they are. So you can work your way right through the PowerPoint. There's something we don't get to say to our students too often. And run right through the PowerPoint presentation, and it's all being recorded. So not only can you post just your slides on your Canvas course, you can post this video where you're narrating it. And you can do that just by pulling up your PowerPoint, starting a Zoom meeting, sharing your screen, whether there's anybody else there or not, and working your way through the PowerPoint slides. That's a classic application of screencasting, and it is incredibly more useful than just posting your PowerPoint slide deck as a file in Canvas.
Dave?
Yes.
Is like right now, your picture is being shown the same time you had your PowerPoint? Yes. Is that the same?
Right. That's recorded too, yes.
Okay, so the students not only see you as the instructor talking, but they do get to see the slide presentation.
They can see both. As a matter of fact, they can largely control what they see. If you look at the top of your screen right now while I'm sharing my screen, there's a little button up there, black button that says View Options. And if you click on that, try setting it to side-by-side mode and see what you see.
Up on the top?
Yeah, up at the top should be a little bar. It's almost right at the, almost invisible at the top of the screen. And there's a little black button that says View Options.
I don't see it on mine. I'm on an iPad. Does that make a difference?
Oh, no, you wouldn't see that, but on a computer you would.
Darn.
And that would provide you with a view that has the slide or whatever screen is being shared on one side and several, at least, of your attendees on the other side.
Oh, good.
Their webcam view. Okay. I have settings set in Zoom so I can show you how Zoom does certain things that kind of interfere with that. But that's something, that's an option that your viewers always have if they're on computers anyway. With your iPad, you can get, there's really not an exact analog of that on mobile devices, but when they're watching on computers, they have a lot of control over what they're seeing when you're sharing your screen.
Yeah, when I do mine, I am not going to be using my iPad. I have my iPad with you on it, and my laptop while I'm working on what you're talking about.
Yeah, the portable devices, smartphones and tablets are wonderful for attending a meeting, particularly when you're maybe not at home. And you can originate and teach a class even on a smartphone. I've had to do it when my internet connection went out and I had to go into town to where I could get it to a cell tower. I'm kind of remote up here, but I don't recommend it as a regular as a regular thing to do. It's a little challenging, but it can be made to work. Zoom and Canvas are both so mobile friendly that you can do things that you'd never dreamed you could do with a portable device. But again, not recommended.
Dave, I have a quick question, which is why would you use the side-by-side screen in Zoom? I didn't.
Because you can see if the instructor were delivering a PowerPoint, you could see the instructor and the PowerPoint slide at the same time.
Thank you.
With students
and in my case, that's not necessarily a good thing, but your students would like to see you.
Yeah.
So that gives that, it really makes the experience very similar to what they get in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because they can see you, they can see your facial expressions and your body language, which tells them what's really important and maybe what's not. And they can see the slide at the same time.
I use it in communication where the students can share their screen. I can see their PowerPoint because I'm grading as best to my best ability, eye contact and gestures while they're giving their presentation. So anyone who has a presentation can do that too. But
and that works on their end too.
Yeah, but I've seen where some people insert a video into their PowerPoint.
Yes.
And do the slides go automatic? I don't know how that's done. I don't know if I want to do it, but
you can do it. Yeah, you can embed videos into your PowerPoint slides and play them during a Zoom meeting.
Okay, but I meant if I saved it, well, if I'm there, I am fully present. But if I wanted to save the PowerPoint for later, I was considering maybe how do I insert or whether I want to go through all that. Because that would humanize.
And if you do it in the encapsulated in a Zoom meeting and you're recording the Zoom meeting, then your PowerPoint presentation, everything will be recorded and your students will be able to see it.
I have a question about that. Where, if it's recorded in Zoom, do we wait for it to be closed captioned in the cloud, or would we upload that to YouTube, have it closed captioned there, and then once that happens, where can my students who weren't able to attend access it from? Like, does
well, you would link it into your Canvas course as a web link, an external URL, or if you did it on YouTube, you could embed the video in a page on Canvas and they could view it from there. But the short answer is you'd link it into your Canvas course and they'd see it from there.
But on that, in that module where it actually took place?
That would, yes, that would certainly be what you'd want to do, yes.
Okay. Or could I put it there, but also say a history of all the videos from class I put in the pages?
Sure, you could create a module that had all of your videos in it.
Okay.
As a repository, as a collection, and then they could find them there as well. That's just up to you. There are, we're not only tasked with making sure that we can communicate with our students and they can communicate with us. We're also tasked with allowing students the opportunity to communicate with one another. And we've already talked about some ways we can do that, where the discussion topics, for instance, and the inbox tools, they can send the messages to one another just as easily as they can send them to you. They do not get each other's individual external email addresses. They send by name through the inbox tool, and Canvas takes care of the infrastructure for them. But you can also use Zoom that way. There is an option in Zoom called Join Before Host. It is selected, it can be selected in the Zoom management screens, the settings for your account, which you can access at zoom.us. And of course, you have to log in with your credentials. I don't know if I'm logged in or not. Nope. You just sign in. And there I am. Sign in with the email address and password you got from Confer Zoom. And then you get to your management screens for your Zoom account. And there's a settings button in this menu here. And in meeting settings, if you scroll down, you don't have to go too far until you see join before host. This really only works if you use your personal meeting room in Zoom, which is, I very much recommend. That's what you're using, my personal meeting room right now. The access information for that room never changes. And you can access it under the meetings tab here with personal meeting, clicking on personal meeting room. And you have a meeting ID and a meeting invite link, which may or may not have been customized like mine has, that you can provide to your students so that if they click on that link, or if they go to the Zoom website or to the Zoom app on their portable devices and hit join meeting, and then they can type in the meeting ID and join your meeting. But this way, there's no if you use your personal meeting room exclusively, no one will ever end up in the wrong Zoom room, which is the #1 point of failure for Zoom meetings. So if you use your personal meeting room, and let me go to meeting settings here. And you can set Zoom up so that pretty much no matter how you start a meeting, you use your personal meeting room. If you set these two settings to on, use personal meeting ID when scheduling a meeting, use personal meeting ID when starting an instant meeting. That covers pretty much all Zoom meetings. If you set that to on, you're always using your Zoom personal meeting room. One caveat to this, if you use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas to start your meetings or schedule your meetings, you can't use your personal meeting room, which is why I never use that app, because I insist on using my personal meeting room, because I rarely have someone not able to join my meetings. If you do all that, you can set enable, of course, you also have to enable your personal meeting ID, but that's on by default. Then you can set join before host. And that behaves in a way that many of you have experienced with my meetings. You can click on my join link and you can get into my Zoom room and talk to one another, even share your screens with one another before I get there. Shoot, you could do it if I never showed up. You could have the meeting all by yourselves.
Do you have
because
to
I
use
have enabled.
Sorry, do you have to use the setting then that allows everybody to share their screens?
Yes, if you want them to share their screens.
If you want them to be able to do that when you're not there.
Yeah, if you want them to be able to do it when you're not there, that's right. Okay. Or if you just want them to be able to talk to one another, you don't have to worry about that. But yes, if you want them to be able to share their screens, you have to turn participant screen sharing on by default.
Is there a way to do it there? Because I had to turn it on every single class meeting.
Yeah, you can. Let's see, who can share all participants?
Oh. Okay. Because it's really annoying to have every single.
Yes, it's really annoying. I agree. Once you do that, and there is one other thing you have to do. You have to go to your meetings tab. This is a quirk in Zoom. I've never quite understood why this works this way. You have to go into your personal meeting room screen under meetings in your Zoom settings. You have to go down and make sure that enable join before host is checked. If it's not, you can edit the meeting, your personal meeting room, and you can turn it on and off and then save it. It won't work otherwise. I don't know why. Oh, meeting type, what? Student instructional. That's new. Hadn't seen that before. All right, so once you do that, then your students, if you provide your personal meeting link to your students, like in your Canvas course, they can click on it and go in at any time. And if there's another student there, they can talk to them. And if you've set screen sharing for participants on, they can share their screens. They can have a study session using your Zoom room. And it enhances their ability to communicate with one another.
How does that affect the privacy and Zoom bombing? I thought we were supposed to have enable a waiting room and a meeting ID as security to prevent Zoom bombing, number one, and number two.
That's a theory. You know how many Zoom meetings I do, right? Hundreds.
Yes.
My personal meeting room ID has been out on emails and so on forever.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes out multiple times a week. You know how many times I've been Zoom bombed?
Just a few.
Really?
One.
Okay.
And there are things you can do if somebody comes in and Zoom bombs you, there you can very quickly throw them out.
Just unmove, yeah.
So that to me is a kind of a baby with the bathwater situation, being thrown out the window. The advantages to using your personal meeting room are so strong to me that the very remote chance of being Zoom bombed is not worth worrying about. And in point of fact, in a class, almost every time if there's a disruption, it's not coming from somebody from the outside, it's one of your students. Seriously. So, you know, obviously that's your decision, but all I can tell you is what I do and what I recommend.
So you don't have to necessarily, like I've been inviting my students to the Zoom meeting. I have all their email. Last semester when we first started, everybody said,
right,
you are coming to Zoom at 5:30. Class, I get them there early because the class starts at 6:30, but I'll be there at 6. You know, if you want to talk to me, if you want to talk to each other, here's the link.
Right.
Click on it. See you there. So this takes the place of that. We don't have to email.
You can just put a link to your personal meeting room in your Zoom, in your Canvas course, excuse me, where they can find it. And then you can post a schedule of meetings somewhere.
Okay. This is a good way to remind them, though. You know, if you email everybody and go, "Oh, we got
that's still worth doing," or using the announcements tool in Canvas is good because people do forget. But but you don't have to go through the whole invitation cycle every time.
Okay.
And you don't have to worry about somebody trying to use an old link that will take them into a different Zoom meeting than the one you're in now. And that will happen, trust me. This avoids all that. There's a slightly greater risk of somebody coming in and trying to disrupt your meeting, but there are ways to deal with that.
Yeah.
And the horror stories you heard early on during the lockdowns about Zoom bombing and so on happened because they had people running Zoom meetings who'd never run Zoom meetings before, didn't have the faintest idea how to use Zoom, really. They just had absolutely minimal training. And they didn't know what to do when somebody came in and started shouting racist slogans and things like that.
Oh my God.
It's easy to control that and to shut it off and to get rid of it. So if you know anything about how to run a Zoom meeting. And in that set of tutorials that I showed you earlier, let me see, let me get out of full screen mode here. Where is that? I've covered some, oh, that's what it is. I've covered the client up there. Now I should be able to find it. Yeah. In this set of tutorials that I've given you on Zoom basics. I've got a diffusing a Zoom bombing tutorial, and my personal favorite, how to deal with a phantom illustrator. Students can draw on your screen when you're sharing it, unless you turn that off, and they can draw naughty things on your screen. But there's ways to shut that off. There's even ways to figure out who's doing it before you shut it off. And you can deal with it at need. So that's all in this Zoom Basics tutorial page on our on-demand site. Yes.
Can you use the scheduling feature of Confer Zoom on Canvas and then hold your meeting privately in your own, personal
If you
meeting?
use the scheduling feature on Confer Zoom, it will automatically generate random meeting IDs, and you can't use your personal meeting room.
Even if I told students don't use this link, use mine instead?
They're probably going to use the link. Yeah, indeed, because then if they use your link, you'll end up one place and they'll end up another.
Yeah. And that's happened to me, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
You
so I
can
couldn't have them sign up for a time for office hours, for example, but then hold the meeting like outside of Canvas?
You could, but they need to know where to go to get in.
Okay. Maybe I'll try.
You can also schedule your meetings through the Zoom website as well.
Oh,
and if you do it here and you have those settings set to use your personal meeting room, it will schedule the meeting in your personal meeting room.
Okay.
Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
Good question.
I have a quick question, which is, I just wanted to clarify, using the personal meeting room, we can just set that up so our students can go in at any time, or just before? Okay. Is there some liability? I mean, don't we have to be there?
That's my question too, because I had a student who, I thought when you said students can enter before you got there, if it's a personal meeting room, I'm thinking, oh, just like in a regular classroom, they come 10, 15 minutes early. But I had one student who said, oh, I missed the Monday, Wednesday class. Can I come to your Tuesday, Thursday class? And I said, fine. But she thought the Tuesday, Thursday class was at the same time as her Monday, Wednesday. So she came at the time. And so she's there for like, I was there like half an hour and you never showed up and sent an email. So students could technically meet any day if you have a personal meeting room. Is there any way to say an hour before class or 30 minutes before class? Or
No, it's all or nothing. They can go in any time, or they can have to wait for you to get there.
So they can be meeting without me knowing it, basically.
Yeah, that's the whole point. They can meet with one another. They can hold a chat session. They can hold a study session without you being there. Of course, they can always make their own free Zoom accounts and do that, but that requires a lot more sophistication on their part than they may really have. I just muted everybody, by the way, so you can unmute. So it's just another option. It's another way to enhance student-to-student communication.
So what
and you can't always be there when they meet one another off campus. You know, there's a limit to what you can control in the classroom or on Zoom.
It's my meeting room.
You're right. And you have to be comfortable with that. You don't have to, I mean, if you're not comfortable with that, you certainly wouldn't want to do it. It is your meeting room. And there's always the danger that you could be using it for something else and a student could just drop in.
Well, that's what I was thinking about. Like, what if I decide I want to record a video for my students and I get in there and there's already people there?
Yeah, you can lock the meeting in that event and prevent anybody else from coming in. There's an option, let me see, it's in the security. Right there, lock meeting prevents anybody from coming in but you. So you could get your, if you were having a personal meeting in there, and you could get it going and then lock it and nobody would drop in.
That's good to know.
So there's ways to work around most of it, but you still may not be comfortable with that. I'm not saying it's something that you must do. It's just something, it's an option you have. I don't care if a student drops in and I'm talking to somebody and I say, hi there, you know. Of course, with me, generally, it's one of you all, and I certainly don't mind if you drop in. So, and it happens to me all the time. Okay, we've got two more things I want to show you here, and I've tried to be very liberal with questions here, but we're starting to run seriously over. So let me deal with these, and then I'll answer some more questions. As long as you have them, I will never leave while you still have questions. Okay, another thing that you can really do to add yourself, to put yourself into your course, to humanize your course, is to provide video feedback for your students on their assignments. This is incredibly personal, and it mimics what you can do if you have your students come by, say they're working on a writing assignment and they want some help. I bring their writing in and you sit down in your office and you get out your blue pencil and you go over it with them and help them improve it. You can do that through Canvas and video tools and give them the highest quality of feedback that there is. Personalized, visual, audible feedback. To do that, you can do that through the speed grader. Let me pull up Canvas again here. Find what I did with it. Oh, it's here somewhere. There it is. And let me go into a course that has, oh, this one has some submissions in it. I'll go to the grade book. And let me go to this define screencasting submission here. Okay. And go to the speed grader. Huh. I've got something here I don't need. Let me just a second. Let me log out here and log back in. Get rid of that.
Dr. Dave?
Yes.
This is my question for 6.12.
Okay, but let's get done with this part first, sure. And then I'll take general questions. Okay.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to get your personal information off the screen there.
That's okay.
Well, thank you, but that wouldn't be right. And let me go back in. I think I've cleared all that now. And let's go to this one and go to the speed grader. Okay, so I've got this here. We've talked about the markup feedback and so on in other venues, but you can also, when you're providing feedback to your students on something they've done, record a video comment. This little, we talked about this little icon earlier. You find it in the rich content editor. You also find it in the messaging tool, the inbox tool, in the send message screens. And this allows you within Canvas, without having to load any other software or bring any other programs up, you can click that little icon and Canvas, and this is a little, normally if you had a webcam running, you'd see yourself here right now. Because I'm in a Zoom meeting, it can't use my primary webcam. Webcams can't be shared between different applications. So I have to select another camera here and use that in order to illustrate this. Normally you would not have to do that. Okay, so the webcam can see me. You can look at, remember your students in the lens of the webcam. So you got to speak to that. And you got to make sure that the application is hearing you. That's, you can see that it is here. This little bouncing blue bar is an indication of sound being transmitted. If you don't see that, check your microphone and make sure you've got the right sound source selected. That can get reset by other applications. And you may have more than one microphone. You may have to select the right one. But once you get all that working, and usually it just works without you having to do anything, and then you stare at the webcam and you start recording. It counts you down. Hi, this is feedback for a student submission. You can talk to your students just as if they'd come by your office to talk about their grade on something. You can explain to them verbally why they got the grade they did and make suggestions on how they might do better next time, or give them the opportunity to resubmit with advice and so on. And it can be very personal, very human. Much more so than just some typed out comments. Then you click finish. You're done with that. You can play it back to make sure it recorded. Hi, this is feedback for a student submission. By the way, the little bit of choppiness here in the video and the soft lip sync is due to the fact that this camera I'm using for this is really designed to show you writing on a piece of paper or something like that, not full motion video. So it'll look better than this on your primary webcam. Then I just save it. That may take a minute or two. This is where people freak, because you click save and nothing seems to happen. In fact, it's uploading it to Canvas right now and embedding it right here in your SpeedGrader. Oh. This will also be visible to your students in their grades tool. When they look at their grades, they'll be able to see this and play it back.
Oh.
Hi, this is feedback for a student submission. And you can do that. I mean, it's just built right into the SpeedGrader. So it's super easy to provide a little bit of encouraging feedback on every assessment that your students submit that you grade through the SpeedGrader.
Does it look like that, like a little picture, or is it like a little, that looks like a photo? So it's clear, it looks like something, or does
this is what the link looks like? Yes.
I mean, in their grade is when it shows up in the student's grade book.
Same, looks the same.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like I've written comments, very detailed comments, and they never read them because they didn't look or they just saw a grade. But they would.
Well, that I can't help you with. That's a motivational issue. We do have a tutorial that shows them how to find their feedback, but we can't make them drink. We can get them to the bank of the stream, but we can't make them drink.
Dave, can we get that nice blur on ours? That nice blur that you had on your video? Can we have
no,
that?
that's because that's not a very good camera. Sorry. Oh. Unfortunately, your nice high definition webcams will show every wrinkle and every
okay.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that ain't ideal for me either.
You can put cellophane across it. And
nice try, yeah.
Absolutely.
Wear a veil.
Okay.
I should wear a mask.
No, you're beautiful.
Okay, so that's one way to do that. But you also have this other button down here that I never have time to talk about, which is adding a file attachment.
Oh, I've done those. Yeah, those are good.
Doing that, you can do what's called screencasting, we talked about earlier, and you can talk about you can actually show the students the paper and mark it up and so on in real time. And give them a very detailed set of suggestions about it. You can even use the SpeedGrader to do that. You just need some tool that will allow you to record your screen while you talk about it. You can do that in Zoom, But having to start and stop a Zoom meeting every time you wanted to provide feedback is kind of, it's awkward. It takes time. It's awkward. It's cumbersome. There are better tools for that sort of thing. And it just so happens that a new one has just come out that is completely free. I know some of you have used Jing in the past, which was a little screenshot and screencasting tool, an entry-level tool from Techsmith. It was great, and it was completely free. It was great help for things like this for many years, but it's not withstood the test of time, and they are pretty much eliminated it. It's even if you still have it, it really doesn't work very well anymore. But Techsmith just this week announced a replacement for Jing called Techsmith Capture. It is a little application that can run in the background on your computer, so it's always available to you. Kind of like this little button here is always available to you. And let me move this over, by the way. I think I might have lost some folks on that one underneath the videos. On a PC, Capture runs in the system tray down here, the little hidden icons. On a Mac, it would be in the ribbon at the bottom of the screen. And it's this little amber square with like a little screen with a logo in the center of it. It's hard to tell what it is here, but if you mouse over it, it says Techsmith Capture. If I click that, it's just sitting there waiting for me to use it. And it's super easy to use. I just capture, excuse me. I tell it what I want to record. Maybe I just want to record this part of the screen. I can click and drag this over and just record that part of the screen. Then I get a little control bar that allows me to take a screenshot, a still image of it, or I can make a screencast. If I click that option, I get another bar. I can see if it's hearing me. This is my microphone here. I can select a different microphone if I need to. So it's hearing me okay. I can then just click record button. It counts you down. And now Capture is recording whatever's inside this screen area I've drawn. You can also record the entire screen if you like. That's what I usually do. But now anything I do here, like if I do annotations and I talk about things, I can draw arrows and I can circle stuff. I can draw boxes around paragraphs and so on. I can highlight parts of the screen. I can do highlight annotations. And I can talk about those in real time. And I can critique the student's writing. I can give positive suggestions. I can explain why they got one grade instead of another. I can give them very rich feedback. And when I'm done, I can even pause in the process. Now I'm not recording anymore. Now I'm recording again. And you can even do this in a Zoom meeting, obviously, and record part of the screen. And when you're done, you just click the stop button and it gives you a preview of what you just recorded. And now Capture is recording. And when you're satisfied that it's all right, you just click this blue button down here that says upload to Screencast, which screencast.com is Techsmith's hosting site. And you can get a basic account for free there. Used to be with Jing, when you signed up for Jing, you automatically got the screencast.com account. Now I think you have to sign up for it separately. I've got a tutorial on how to do that, I'd imagine. And, but if you just click that button, it uploads it. boo, and you don't have to, there's almost nothing to it. And just that fast, that video is now online. And here's the link to it. If I copy that link to my clipboard, then okay. Now I can I'll just open another browser window and paste that URL in, press enter, and there's that video. And your students can play it back. Capture is recorded. No time flat. So the turnover time is very, very brief. Now I can go back and I can go to the next student, if I can find one who's turned it in, the slackards. There's another one. Now I can go to the next student and I can do the same thing again, just that quick, capture, bang. You can't do it that quick with Zoom. You can't do it that quick with Screencast-O-Matic. And this is completely free. And once you have that link on your clipboard, let me go back to that first student again. There's the one I was messing with. Now I can just, in the comments box here, I can just paste in that URL and save it. And they can view that as that's one of their comments. They can view that feedback. That is really good feedback. It's very high quality. It's something you probably couldn't afford the time to do in a face-to-face class, but with Canvas and something like Capture, you can do it probably faster than you can type out comments.
Yeah. And
yet provide that wonderful, personalized, humanized feedback to everyone.
Well, what about closed captioning? How does that?
That is the question, isn't it? Okay, here we're only sending this video to a single student at a time. As long as that student has not informed us that they are hearing impaired and are entitled to DSPS accommodations, you can assume that that student can hear and see, and you do not have to caption the video.
What if they need that captioning?
That's a really good question. What if they are? Well, then you can go to your screen, and that's not going to happen that often. Right. But when it does, you can go to your screencast.com account, and here I'm logged into my account. The student wouldn't be able to do this after watching the video, but I'm logged into my own account, so I can do this. I can bring up the video, and I can go to this details link here, and I can download the video to my local hard drive. Put it in my videos folder so I can find it again. I'm going to call this capture recording, just so I know which one it is. 6/29. My goodness, how'd it get to be almost the end of June 2020? Save it. Now I can go, I can find that, I can go to YouTube and I can upload that video to YouTube very quickly. This is obviously a little more trouble, but you're not going to have to do it that often. Select the file, go to my videos, find that capture recording. There it is. And upload it to YouTube. Doesn't take any time at all to speak of. And I'll most likely make something that's meant for an individual student unlisted so that only that student will be able to see it. And within a minute or two, it'll be on YouTube. And within probably half an hour or less, it'll be captioned. And you can just hold off sending the link to the student, or you can note that, wait a half an hour or so to view this because the captions will not be available right away. But that's a workaround for situations where you have to have that captioned. There is no captioning capability in Techsmith Capture, unfortunately. That's not something you get for free. But you do have and you can't upload directly from Capture to YouTube because that would cannibalize the market for Techsmith's Snagit, which is very similar. As a matter of fact, Capture, what I just showed you is a stripped down version of Techsmith's product called Snagit. And with Snagit, you can load directly to YouTube very quickly. So Snagit's a good choice as well. It operates almost the same way as Capture. Indeed, like I say, the interface is the same pretty much. But Snagit is not free. On the other hand, for educators, Snagit costs all of $30. And it's not a subscription. Once you have it, you can keep it indefinitely. You don't have to pay for it again. So it's a pretty good deal. But Capture is just so nice. It's so free. And it's something your students can use themselves. You can have your students do things like that and turn them into you by just providing you with the URL. And they can get a free Screencast.com account as well. So for absolutely free, it's a really powerful tool. And of course, if a student were sending it to you and you weren't hearing impaired, they wouldn't have to caption it either. So generally, unless you know a person to be hearing impaired, if you're sending a video to an individual, it does not have to be captioned. But if it's posted for the entire class, it does, in which case you'd put it on YouTube or record to the Zoom cloud using Zoom to start with. And in both cases, it will be captioned automatically. Whew.
So if we get comments in the grades, we don't have to caption it unless we know the student is hearing impaired. But if we are taping our lectures and then saving for students who missed it, that would have to be closed captioned?
Yes, you are correct.
Well, I won't be doing it then.
Well, no, it has to be closed captioned, but if you record it to the Zoom cloud or to YouTube, it will automatically be captioned. And the captions will be good enough. In the training course, we make you learn to edit the captions on a YouTube video so that you know how to do it.
Yeah.
I rarely edit the captions on my YouTube videos because they are almost perfect. YouTube automatic captioning and the Zoom automatic captioning is phenomenally good these days. So rarely is it necessary to spend much time editing those captions. If you have some very unusual, specific jargon terminology that is unique to your subject matter, those words may not be recognized, and you may have to go in and edit those. But that usually only takes a short time. And even at that, YouTube and Zoom are very good. They pick up a lot of jargon terms as
Well,
is.
I must have been the exception. I think I mentioned before that I filmed mine on Zoom, but I have mine saved on my desktop. I didn't know how to change it to the cloud just for that one occasion. So I filmed it through Zoom. It was saved automatically on my desktop, uploaded to YouTube, and they translated it to Vietnamese. And then I said
that's something unusual going on there because
second time Indonesian. So
I can't imagine. That's something we need to deal with because watch this. And for a hearing impaired student, the difference is academic. They'll be able to see the captions, but it ain't simple.
That looks like an ad. Is that the right one? That's the MR one. Yeah, that's not it.
Do not believe it is.
That's amara.com, not amara.org. I mean, it looks like they're having a great sale, though. Yeah. You want
It does better with your voice. When there are multiple voices, it gets a little rocky. But if it's your voice, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Generally. And there's, when you, let's go to YouTube Studio here. See if we can address that. Channel dashboard. There's somewhere you can set your default language. Comments. Where is that? I know you can do it video by video. And it's something you can check when you first load the video. I see, I can do it. Edit. More options. There it is, video language. Be sure to set it to English US. And that's something you can do with the subtitle. Right after you upload the video, you can go to the subtitles link, and you can make sure that the language is set to English United States. If it's not, you can add that to make sure that you get English captions. So I'm just not sure what happened there. Notice that's already set. So I'm not sure what happened there. But that,
I'll send it to you when I get a chance.
I've almost never seen any problems with the YouTube captions being in the wrong language. There are about 8 or 9 different languages that YouTube can create automatic captions in. They're mostly English and the major European languages. But I'm just not sure what's happening there. That's something we might meet one-on-one and play with one time and see if we can convince your YouTube account not to do that. But that's an unusual thing. I've rarely encountered that problem.
Well, after I finish the certificate, because it's due tomorrow, and
right.
I will send
that can wait.
That can wait.
You bet. All right. Great questions. That was what I had, but how about some more questions? I'll answer them as long as you got it. Take care, Randy. It's good to see you.
No, I have a question.
Oh, good, good. Excellent.
A couple of brief ones. First of all, the schedule for this week that's sent out by, who is this, Mary Kingsley?
Mary Kingsley.
You didn't send one out as of 1 o'clock today for the rest of the week. When's our next meeting date and time?
Okay. I had asked her to delay it because I wanted to add something to this week. So let me see if she's sent it out since. Let me look here.
Okay.
There's my Outlook. And if not, I'll certainly give it to you.
Okay.
Congratulations. Nope, that ain't it. Well, here we go. Yes. She did send it out at 2:12, right after we started. Sorry. Okay, so the short answer is tomorrow from 10 a.m. to noon.
Okay.
I am doing a session on finishing up your online faculty certification course.
Wow.
Oh, no.
So if you're working overnight on stuff and you get stuck on a question or on an assignment, come in tomorrow morning and we'll get you unstuck.
Okay.
Okay, and one other thing, this one's between you and I. That information you sent me personally about the Zoom thing, the links,
right.
all of, Okay, I read your message, but I have yet to go into those. After I get into those, start working on them, do you believe I will probably be able to set up my own Zoom account or no?
I think you will at least know what questions to ask.
Gee, thanks.
Well, no, I'm not gonna put you on the spot and say, you know, well, you ought to be able to, or something like that. I realize this is brand new to a lot of people. So what I've done there is try to be as clear and as simple as I possibly can, but I've been at this long enough to know that nobody's perfect at that. So, not me especially. So I hope you will get close enough that you will have some concrete questions that I can help you with that will get you over any humps that appear.
Okay, and then one last quick one. Besides tomorrow's meeting, do we have anything more this week?
Not this week, because I found that offering meetings in the days leading up to the July 4th holiday are unwise.
Yeah.
But next week, on the 7th, we're having an orientation to the online faculty certification program for the next cohort. And then on the 8th, I'm doing Canvas analytics. Somebody had a question today, I think, about how can you tell if somebody watched something? And that's covered in that.
Okay, and
you
last,
can tell what your students are doing.
Okay, and last, and then I'll get out of your hair. I have not taken that class, and I'm going to go ahead and sign up for it tonight or tomorrow morning. One or two. So in doing that, it'll automatically throw me into the new version of it, or the latest version of it. Correct?
Correct.
Okay. All right. That's what I had. And I have to run. So I want to say thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.
I'll look forward to it, Randy. Take care.
Thanks.
Marlene. And you're muted, Marlene. Marlene, you're muted. We can't hear you. Sorry about that. And Ardith is doing the moose.
I have two screens within a screen. Anyways.
Tell me about it, yeah.
Yeah, you have like 10 of them. So I submitted all my stuff last week for the certification course.
Excellent.
And yeah, I was very happy, but you know, like I think I have 4 that haven't been graded. I understand there's a backlog. However, I want to make sure that I have submitted everything. So I sent an email last week and today, one to Peter T, one to Trenton, because I don't want to have anything slip through the cracks.
I understand. Just a second, I'll look.
Thank you so much.
You can look for mine too.
Okay, hold that thought, and I'll look for yours too. Let me see. Whoa, don't need that. Actually, I need Zoom. There we are. Sorry, this takes a moment. This course is so big that it takes quite some time for the gradebook to load.
1,000 students, right?
1,040, I think now.
Wow.
Thank God, not everybody is active. Some people have just decided to wait till the next semester or the next year, you know, to wait until July 1st. But a frightening number of those folks are still active. 700 or 800 of them at least. Here we go.
I'll be pulling an all-nighter myself.
All right, I got Marlene's grades up. I'm going to take a quick look here.
You're not showing it.
No, I'm not. Nope. Don't want to out Marlene here. But I'm just looking through. Marlene, you have submitted everything.
All right. I don't have to worry about it.
And so far, you're looking really good.
Okay. Thank you.
You're at, oh yeah, you're at over 100%.
Wow.
Right now. So you're gonna have to really screw up with these last few submissions not to get.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
And if you do, you'll have a chance to resubmit. So you're looking good. Now, who else wanted to know?
Oh, I'm not finished yet, so.
You know you're not finished yet. Yusra.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Okay, it'll take a moment again.
And then I have problem with 6.12.
Okay. Let me see here. Whoa, what's that going on there? Sorry, I messed up something on my screen. Just a second. Yusra. Still looking. Yusra, you have submitted everything. And you're okay on quizzes and discussions, but your assignments need some work. Okay, and which one was it, Yusra?
6.12.
6.12, the
Yes.
screenshot one. All
Yes.
right, let me pull that one up and just talk about it generically.
Thank you.
You bet.
I don't know what I did. I did it so many times. I don't know why it's not working with me.
The trick there is on that one, if it's the one I'm thinking of, yeah. You have to have your test student submit an assignment in your practice course.
They did. I did.
And then you have to go in and grade that assignment, as I showed, like the way I showed today, and provide some feedback. And then you have to take a screenshot of that.
This is the point where I can't see the work to grade it. I have already the rubric and the assignment. I just don't know how to connect.
Okay, let's take a look at your practice course here. Just a second. I have to do this off screen because it shows things that I can't share publicly.
What does LMS stand for?
I'm sorry?
What does LMS stand for? They keep mentioning it.
Learning. Oh, LMS, Learning Management System.
Okay.
i.e. Canvas, Blackboard, Desire to Learn, Moodle, things like the content management systems that allow you to teach online asynchronously. Okay, search courses. Let me see here. There it is. All right, Yusra, do you mind if I show your
No, I don't mind.
Practice course? Okay, here we are.
I don't mind.
We can.
Okay, let's look at your modules.
Okay.
And let's see, where's your assignment?
The second one on the top. The second one on the top.
I can tell you right, I can see right now. Oh, this one.
This one, yes.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I looked at this the other day. That's this one. Okay, we go in.
And I added the Arabic.
And let's make sure it's.
And here is the Arabic with it.
You're fine. That's fine. Let's edit that. I just want to take a look at the dates on it to make sure it's available to students. Yes, it is. Okay, that's good. And you have a website URL. Is that what you intended?
I think so.
So they're gonna, how are they gonna create a website? Because they have to create this themselves. So probably what you really want here is text entry.
Okay.
Okay, so let's fix that. Take the website URL off and save. Because they're going to have to type in what they had at the, type in the names and the descriptions of what they had at the restaurant, right? So they have to be able to type it in. So they need some way to enter that. So the text entry would probably be the most appropriate in this case. All right, so that's set. Now we have to have the test student take this or submit this assignment. Let's look and see if that's happened. I can tell by going to the grade book. And there is a submission. Sure enough, let's take a look at it. We click on the little icon for the submission. This is your test students, the only students you've got in there. We go right arrow to get to the speed grader. Click on that. And this is a URL, but that's not what we need. If I click on that link, it just takes me back to the assignment.
Right.
That's not an assignment submission. That's just the page describing the assignment.
Okay.
So there isn't a submission for this that means anything. So let's go to the home button.
Okay.
And go to student view.
Okay.
And then go to the modules. Now I'm acting as the test student.
Okay.
If I go to this assignment as the test student, now I get a button that says submit assignment because I'm a student.
Right.
If I click there, now I can enter, let's see, I'll look at the directions again, right, 10 dishes in English and Arabic. So I can enter something and I can.
Okay.
Okay. And then I can submit it. Then I leave student view. So do not reset the student. That'll destroy the submission.
Oh, okay.
Leave student view. And all right, that's done. Now you're you again, you're the instructor. So you can go to the grade book.
Right.
And you'll find that submission there still. Oh, is this the new one I just did? I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Let's find out. I'm getting multiple speed grader windows here. That's not good. I took a shortcut there. Okay, there's the submission and there's the words. There's whatever I typed.
Right, right.
You can look at that. You can add a comment.
Or you can record one.
Or I can record one.
Only 3 from 10. 3 from 10.
I can give them a grade, 0 in this case, and I can submit it. Now I have used the speed grader, and this page is the evidence that you have done that.
Right.
So you need a screenshot of this page.
I did Jim.
I'm sorry?
I use the screen, to take not video, just a picture for this. Yes. And
yeah, like the Windows snipping tool is one thing you can use. And you can, new snip, sorry. And you can highlight this.
I did something like this yesterday.
Something like it, yeah. And then save that. Put somewhere you'll find it again. It would be nice.
On the desktop.
I have to watch myself here. I'm going to say Yusra snip. Okay. Now, if I get out of the snipping tool, there's my cursor. Done with that. Now I can, let's go back to the training course. Take some doing to get out of the speed grader when you're 2 feet in, but I'll go back to the training course.
Okay.
On my dashboard. Get out of your, you don't need to be in your practice course anymore. So go back to the training course.
Right.
And go to the
modules
6.12.
Right.
In your module, the assignment.
This one.
And of course, I'm in as an instructor, so I don't see the submit button, but you'll see a submit assignment button here. You click on that and you submit that file, that screenshot file that you just took.
Okay.
And everything will be fine.
That's it?
That's it. Now I'm going to go back into your training course.
Okay.
There it is, into your grade book. I'm sorry, this is your practice course, forgive me. And I'm going to go to the student view, and I'm going to reset the student. So now that submission that student put in there is gone. So now your practice course is clear. You can do what I did now. Go in and go in as your test student and submit that assignment, then grade it with the speed grader, and then take a screenshot of the screen grader page and submit that to the assignment in the training course.
Okay. Okay.
And if you get right through it, it should take about 5 minutes.
I hope so. For you, Dr. Dave. For you, Dr. Dave.
Oh, Dave, now I'm worried.
Yes. Did you see something different there?
No. Well, I haven't gotten that far yet, but I was noticing that in her announcements and in the modules, there mine, it had the I and it was crossed out. And I thought I read it said that don't worry about that, you don't have students. But I noticed that she does. So now I'm wondering, because I'm only at the part where I had to do a navigation in 5.7 or one of those.
Right, where you had to adjust the navigation for the students so that they only saw certain links.
But mine did not, but mine still had the I crossed out. And
yeah.
So, but hers is not. So does that happen when you were in the module?
No, some of hers were crossed out.
But those two were not crossed out in hers, and they are crossed out in mine. So that's why I'm worried.
Which two? Which two?
Announcement and modules.
Have you created a module yet? You haven't gotten to the module creation yet, have you?
No, it's just
okay. That's why that's crossed out. Canvas will not show a tool that's empty to students. So you haven't yet created an assignment or a module. So those are showing the /I, but as soon as you create an announcement or a module, that will go away and the students will be able to see it.
But I did create an announcement and it still had a crossed out I.
Let's take a look. Let's see here.
Dave, I don't mean to be rude, but I have to go, and I just checked my email for Mary Kingsley, and unless I'm wrong, she does not have tomorrow's listed. She has today's and July 1st, but I didn't see anything for June 30th.
Oh my God, you're right. She did not get that.
Yeah, July 1 won't help me.
Oh gosh, she sent it out, but she didn't. She put the wrong date in. Oh my God. I'll ask her to resend that right away when I get done here.
Okay.
But
I appreciate
I will be here tomorrow morning from 10 to 12. Thanks for noticing that.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope maybe she sent it out again. I'll look. Oh boy. I'll check my email too and make sure I didn't give her the wrong date. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I said tomorrow. which is the 30th. Nuts.
From 10 to
Well, I'll get her to redo that tomorrow for sure.
All right. Thank you so
She's
much.
probably already, as a matter of fact, let me do that right now. She might still be online. This is a couple of minutes before 5 o'clock. I'm not gonna leave the meeting. I'm just gonna send this real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, because July 1 doesn't help me at all.
Yeah, that was the whole point of that, was to have people.
I mean, I'm going to be pulling an all-nighter. Haven't done that since graduate school, so.
Trust me, it was easier then.
Yes.
Good luck. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.
I'll be back in just a moment, folks.
Sure. Believe me, Canvas, I've been staying until 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too. But I had to finish my grades, turn that in first before I could really focus. But I mean, luckily I registered
tomorrow morning. Sure enough.
Yeah.
Sure enough.
And someone else had problems with 6.12.2 last week.
Yeah, that's not an uncommon thing.
Because going from one shell to another and all this is what makes it a little hard, going back and forth.
Yeah, because it's not in the teaching shell, it's in a separate thing.
Right, exactly.
Jesse, did you want to come up?
Today is the 29th. Right. I'm just making sure I haven't gotten the date wrong.
My students are getting obnoxious.
Just getting obnoxious?
Yeah, they like to lick me. These are the only people that actually pay attention to my lectures. Okay. Oh, hang on.
Thank you so much for noticing that. Okay, I've sent that message. Okie dokie. Now, does anybody else have any other questions? Oh, there's still several of you there. April, you haven't had a chance to speak.
The announcement to, yeah, I said you were looking for my announcement to see why it still had the crossed out I.
Oh, right. We were I was in the middle of doing that when somebody brought that up. April, you're next.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Should I ask now or?
Oh. Pardon?
No. So should I ask my question now?
Oh, I was.
I don't want to jump ahead of Kathy.
Yeah, I had started pulling Kathy's up.
Pull up Kathy's. Yeah, she was before me.
And I want to finish that, and then we'll take care of yours.
Mine.
Okay, let's see here. Let me pull this off so I can get into Kathy's practice course. I'll get it out in a minute. All right, courses.
I hope that's your dog, not someone's stomach growling.
Yeah, that's that's two of them. Sometimes during my Zoom classes, they would be like, you know. Nothing I could do. I'm working from home.
I have a health
There
and
it
safety
is.
advisor, and
I got it.
okay.
Okay, let's take a look. See. Announcements. There is an announcement.
Yeah, and then see it's crossed out.
Why is that? Okay, let's look at settings and navigation. Let's see why that would be. Huh. That's interesting. Because that's just exactly right.
Okay, then I'm not crazy.
Let me take it out and put it back in. See if that helps.
Oh,
That did
there
it.
it is.
Oh, it did.
I don't know why that had done that, but now you're fine.
Okay, so it wasn't my imagination, but you're saying the module, when I do
The
it,
modules, see, it says no content not visible to students. When you create a module, that will this little I will go away. The
in a letter,
slash I.
later assignment though. Okay.
Yeah.
But for the announcement, it should have been done. Okay, thank you.
You bet. Okay, April, your turn.
I have some more copyright questions based on the information you gave me in the last class. After that session ended, I went to my syllabus in my first test and I removed the visually copyrighted material and replaced the everyday things with public domain photos. Nothing I can do about the art, but this is just for things like teaching classroom objects. Now that I've done that, do I need to indicate in my syllabus and other handouts, this is public domain imagery, or is it understood that no one's going to sue me unless they look at it and then they'll discover that, yes, it is public domain? Do I have to indicate it?
I don't think you'd have to do that, no.
And will the graders look for that too? You know, there's one thing for my students, but when the graders see it, they're not gonna worry.
No, I think I can guarantee you that. They've got many more problems than that. So.
Okay, my other copyright question, I know that I cannot send them in the Canvas shell, I cannot send them my PowerPoints because that's copyrighted art. I know that I can show them the PowerPoint in class, but get rid of it, don't send it to them afterwards, don't save it. But the question I have is, can I email them anything? Not through Canvas, but just ordinary email, because there's Canvas email where you do it through Canvas, and then there's just my email. So is there any
same copyright issues would apply?
Okay, so don't email it either. Okay.
It just, there wouldn't be a record in Canvas of it having happened. You know, they couldn't go in and find it in Canvas, but it's basically the same issue.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Sorry.
That's okay.
Okay. Anybody else?
Part of life.
Yeah, I hear you.
Is it my turn or somebody else's turn?
Does anybody else? Users had a turn recently. Does anybody else have anything, or I'll come back to her.
I've got a quick one.
You bet.
Using Zoom last semester, sometimes I would be, because I've got a document camera.
Cool. Oh, that's the same one I have.
Yeah, this is, it's the math department gave it to me.
Cool.
So, yeah, very, very useful. I had never used one before. And so I switch back and forth between the camera that's looking at me and the document camera and sharing my PowerPoints and all that kind of thing.
Right.
And sometimes after I go to the document camera, I go back and try to find my webcam and I can't find myself anywhere. Like I have no screens to share with them that have my picture.
And you are not sharing your screen at this point, right?
That's another question I have, is that I can share like different documents and stuff like that. And how is that different from sharing my screen?
Okay, there's an important difference. First off, you'll see this control bar when you're sharing your screen. So if you see this, you are sharing your screen. That's what I always look for when I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing. And you always have that stop share button. So if you just want to talk to people, you can stop the share. And now I'm just speaking to you. You're seeing, it's a little confusing with what I'm doing right now because I have a setting turned on in Zoom that allows me to share the Zoom screens as well, because I'm teaching to some extent, teaching you how to use Zoom, and you need to be able to see what I'm doing in the Zoom menus and so on.
Yeah.
But that makes it a little confusing. Normally when you share your screen, your video view goes away. And it won't come back until you stop your screen share like I just did. So that's one thing you can check is, am I sharing my screen? If I stop the share, you'll pop back up. But it's also quite possible to accidentally or on purpose, and forget it, to minimize the Zoom window to the bottom of your screen. Let me share my screen again so you can see me do that. If I minimize this window, oh, I can't do that when I'm recording the meeting, but you can do it. And this window can just get lost.
Oh, yeah.
And if you look down at the bottom on a Windows or a Mac computer, you'll see this little, at the bottom of the screen, you'll see this little Zoom logo, the blue square with the camera in it. And that's where your Zoom windows are living, and you can click there, and that would, if that were minimized, it would bring it back up. That's what usually happens, is that you accidentally minimize your Zoom screen while you're talking and you don't realize that it's happened, and you have to go and find it in the taskbar at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just, okay, I'm gonna have to show you something other than me right now because I can't find me.
Right. Well, you're down at the bottom of the screen in that little icon. And you can always get yourself back. As long as you're still in the meeting, you can get yourself back.
Yeah, maybe I just have to stop the share.
Stop the share. First thing you do is stop the share. You can't get yourself back when you're in the share.
Because I'm not really...
Unless you have this setting set that I do, which I don't recommend, because it's only useful really if you're instructing people on how to use Zoom.
Right.
Through Zoom.
Yeah, if I just go into my Zoom meeting, I'm not actually sharing anything. They're just seeing my camera.
Right. And seeing the students. Right.
Yeah.
Go into gallery view.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes.
Okay. You, sir.
Dr. Dave, 6.14, there is supposed to be 5 points answering just support needs. And I did those questions, but I did not get the points for some reason.
Let me look. I'll look at your grade there just a second. Again, it'll take a moment to bring the grade book up.
And is there any points taken because I made copies and read from the copies, not from the computer?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Like if I read, for example, for a module, says read. I always make copies and read because my eyes start hurting just sitting like this.
Oh, no.
No points are taken.
No.
Okay.
Okay. Let me see what you have submitted for that one.
Okay.
6.14. There we are. I'm looking.
I wrote what I felt, so.
Sorry, it's loading your submission now. Everything takes time in this course.
Okay.
There it is. Okay, yeah, I'm seeing it here.
But there is
Some of these,
no points.
yeah, they just haven't gotten around to grading it yet.
Oh.
Because there's no feedback here and there's no grade. The only problem I see is that you have some of these highlights you've done make it almost impossible to read. I've got number 1's fine. Let me see if I can read number 2.
Oh, I made it colorful. Right?
Yeah, I saw it. I can read it. The browser did you use? Chrome. If you use a smartphone, which device did you use? iPhone. Experiencing accessibility. May not know how to treat it. Okay, that's fine. In what area of Canvas do you need the most support or training? Well, there they were asking what in Canvas did you not understand well enough? Like what they're fishing for is, well, I need more help with the tests or with the assignments or with modules or something like that. They're looking for the Canvas features that you had particular trouble with there.
I think
This, where you say, I like face-to-face instruction, is the question in number 9 down here.
Oh.
To humanize it, let's see, what would you like to see implemented for the next slide? Humanize it more. We learned to humanize. Very good. What is your biggest takeaway from the certification? I don't know. Keep on learning. Okay, that's fine. So this one is the only one that was a little bit off. I might give you a 4.8 for that.
Oh, okay, not bad. Not bad.
Oh, can you grade stuff now? Because
yeah, I'm grading it right now. Please,
discussion.
Please resubmit. Your answer to question number, which one was that? 6. 6.
Is that 6? Okay.
Yeah, it's 6. Does not specify which Canvas
Okay.
Areas you had the most trouble.
So I just answer that question, or I need to go back and resubmit?
Well, you got 4.8. If you need the 0.2 of a point, you can go back and resubmit. But right now you have a 4.8 on that assignment.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. You bet.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Mine are not graded because, like, I have in the 2s, and I had something that was in 4 that was graded by discussion, but the ones in 2 had the like a little comment that please submit, didn't say anything was wrong with it. Just if you hover over it, it says you can test for a different grade, but it didn't look like it had been graded. So because it looked like when something is graded, they write a comment, but this was comment. So
probably it's not graded yet. I can look and see. Okay. Which one was it?
There was 3 of them, all in the 2s. Like
okay.
I don't remember the number. I'll know it when I see it.
Okay.
Because I can understand with 1,040 people that takes time, but it just seemed that if something was graded later, that was a discussion, then does that mean I did something wrong in the earlier ones?
Right. All right, I hear you.
Are you showing?
I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong place. Just a second. Let me pull that up.
Thank you.
Elsewhere.
Thank you.
You bet. Take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye.
Always happy.
Hi, Dave.
Hello, hello, Pauline.
Yeah, I have a question about Zoom and Confer Zoom, because last semester sometimes I meet students in one room and then they wait for me in another room. Since
right. That can happen.
Yeah. So how can if we put it as a personal meeting? Okay.
If you use your personal meeting room exclusively, that's much less likely to happen.
But if I use a Zoom .us, for example, so that means they limit only 40 minutes or 45 minutes. Because our meeting.
No, if you have a Confer Zoom account, you can log in to the zoom.us using those credentials and manage and use that account from there. You don't have to use the Confer Zoom app in Canvas.
Oh, I see. So
use your Confer Zoom account.
US account that I have.
So you can go to zoom.us and log in with the credentials. I don't know, Kathy, I'm sorry, this is not coming up. I don't know why it's doing that. I'm still kicking it here. But you can use that Confer Zoom account without using the Confer Zoom app in Canvas. That's an unfortunate combination or a confluence of terms there that is.
We meet here, there, and they're waiting for me at another meeting.
Yes, and I've had that happen to me.
Yeah, me too.
Especially early on, and that's the one way that Zoom sometimes fails for me. And the best way to avoid that is to use your Confer. I'm sorry, not your Confer. Your personal meeting room exclusively.
Oh, so that means I just sign in with Zoom, regular Zoom US.
Yeah, right. But again, if you go through zoom.us and you log in with your Confer Zoom account credentials, you'll be using your Pro account, your Confer Zoom Pro account, and you can operate it from the website instead of operating it from the Confer Zoom app in Canvas. You can also use the desktop client if you're using a computer, a PC, or a Mac. Let me pull my client up here. There it is.
I have your desktop.
Confer Zoom client looks like this. And it looks like this right now because it's in a meeting, but normally there are 4 icons here. And this one says start meeting or new meeting. And if you just click that, you will start a new meeting. That's called an instant meeting. And if you have your Confer Zoom account settings set,
in that case, as a scheduled meeting for certain hours.
Yeah, but you can, let me see, go to my account. If you go to your meeting settings here, after logging in at Zoom, conferzoom.us, by the way, CCC, confer.zoom.us, and zoom.us take you to the same place.
Right. So I gave.
So here, if you set, as I showed you earlier, if you set, you enable your personal meeting room, and then use it for both scheduling and instant meetings.
Oh, instant meeting. Oh.
Yeah. Instant meeting is what I just did. It showed you how to do. If you just start a meeting right now, as opposed to scheduling in advance, it's an instant meeting in Zoom's terminology. But if you do that through the website here, and you can schedule your meetings through the website, and you can do instant meetings through your website if you go to the personal meeting room. And this button, if you're not in a meeting, this button will say start meeting. You just click start meeting, and that's the same as clicking start meeting in your Zoom client. And that if you have those settings in your Zoom account set to use your personal meeting room when either scheduling a meeting or starting an instant meeting, then you will always use your personal meeting room, and your students can always get in using the same link or the same meeting ID. The only time that would not be the case is if you're using the Confer Zoom app in Canvas.
Yeah,
and they've wired that one specifically to not allow you to use your personal meeting room because somebody got upset about Zoom security. And Zoom got a lot of bad publicity about a relatively small number of events, and everybody overreacted, and they made it harder on all of us. So that Confer Zoom app in Canvas to me is absolutely useless. But that's a personal preference. You can still use that and instruct your students to join your meetings through that app. And if you do that, they will always end up in the right place. But if they happen to click on an old link they have somewhere that you gave them earlier, they won't get in. They'll end up in the wrong room like you described. So the safest way to avoid that is to use your personal meeting room exclusively. Yeah. And I almost never have trouble with people ending up in the wrong room because I send them this link. And they use that link, or they can even bookmark that and keep it and just automatically go to it. And they know that if they're in at the right time, they'll drop into my meeting. Because I have had the same experience you had too many times. And it's incredibly frustrating for the students.
Yeah.
It raised my blood pressure one morning when that happened too. And Zoom changed something overnight without warning anybody. And I had a bunch of people who couldn't get into my meeting. And anybody who was in my immediate vicinity that day learned some new words.
And I use my personal meeting ID on the home page of my Canvas account, and most students were able to find that easy to do.
Yeah, that's good. Because as long as it's inside Canvas, so they have to log in to see it, that's fine.
For Zoom, you have to hide that because otherwise they'll click that, and it's totally. Because I had six rooms, and I was in one, and the students were in another. Me and four students were in one, and the other 20 were in another room.
Yep. Yep, it happens all too often. It happens a whole lot more often than Zoom bombing.
Yeah.
Okay, Kathy, which one? It was one of the ones you said in the twos.
It was two of them in the twos. The discussions.
You've got 2.11. You've got full credit. That must not be it. Let me view this.
And I'm sure everyone sees it, so.
By modules.
Because I did 4 discussions, and like one in the 4-point-something was graded. The one for the video the welcome was graded, but the others that were
2.7, nope, that's graded. I'm in the wrong line, yeah. No, your 2.7 is not graded.
Okay.
That's the only other 2 that's not graded. That's the only 2 that's not graded. There's only the Module 2 assignment is graded, full credit, and your 2.12 quiz is graded. You got full credit on that. So the only one that's not graded is 2.7. Let me take a quick look at it.
Since 2 o'clock.
Yeah, they've been working on this.
Okay, well, I feel
okay,
bad.
here's your 2.7 assignment coming up.
Out, right? Oh, is that it? Oh, I can't see it. Are you sharing
No,
it?
it's loading.
Okay.
Here we go. Okay, this looks good. Yeah, good.
Sharing the screen because I don't see anything.
It's YouTube.
If you're sharing a screen, I don't see anything, and I don't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I may not be. Just a second. Thank you. But let me bring that back up. No, I'm not.
Oh.
Now I am. Okay, now you see your submission. Let me pull up the captions. Just a hint. You see right there where it says English. When I click on it,
right.
If they haven't been captioned, or if the captions haven't been edited, that shows as automatic English. That's how we know if you edited the captions or not.
Okay, that was the one. In fact, that was the one that was originally in. It will be a pleasure to teach you some of the basic speech techniques that will help you. And so, goodbye for now.
That's full credit.
Yay. Yeah. I guess the other one must have been graded within the last couple hours, which is good.
Maybe so, yeah. Okay, that one's done. I love grading that one, especially when it's right. I mean, it just takes a few seconds to figure out if the person has done it right or not.
But that was one that was originally Vietnamese, and then I redid it, and it came up Indonesian. So, and by the way,
I just don't know how that might have happened.
It was HAIXX, and then it had the word porn, and I thought, oh, I definitely have to change that. And I typing it like you had demonstrated originally, but then it was like one of those Godzilla Japanese films where the mouth is moving, and then the subtitle it didn't match up.
Right.
And then I watched your video because it was taking too much time, and then I just typed up, since it was very short. I typed up.
You just typed the captions in manually. Yeah, well, that's always an option.
No, that's what I did originally. Too fast.
That shouldn't happen. Do me a favor when you have time after you get everything else done.
The rest, like
try doing just another short YouTube video and try loading again. See if the same thing happens.
Okay.
Would you?
Thanks.
And if it does again, then let's get together on Zoom. And I'll watch you do it, and I'll see if I can figure out what's going on.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Still a couple of us here. Any other questions?
I'm just listening because I'm going to take that class soon, and it sounds more complicated than it should be.
I know, because I've done Blackboard, WebCT, front page, and I didn't have to do as much.
So how many hours total would you say you put into this?
Well, I didn't start until, when was I turned in grades? The 24th?
Oh, of this month or last month?
No, this month.
This month. So you've only been doing it for a really short time.
Well, I registered months ago.
Well, yeah. A lot of people register and then work on it at the last minute.
Okay. That's me. Like, I feel like a student.
Okay. Pauline? Did I answer your question earlier?
Can you check and see if my name's on the 2021? Because I enrolled in 1920, but I didn't. I finished that on time, so.
Yeah, I'll check and see if you've got everything submitted. Yeah. Just a second.
I'm on the first module anyway.
Sorry, this takes so long. As a small revenge, they're paying me for waiting for this thing to load.
Yeah, really.
They also get paid to stand and wait.
But it does look like everyone has problems with that 6.12, because someone last week said they had a problem with 6.12, and Yusra just said she had a problem with 6.12.
Yeah, that's a common one. There's Pauline. Okay, Pauline, it does not look like you've submitted everything.
No, I know it.
So you knew that. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought I was checking. So looks like you're
just started.
Maybe going to the 2021.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So you got plenty of time.
So
And you should have access to modules 1 and 2 right now. And by like 12 a.m. on Wednesday morning, you should have access to everything in the new training course.
When I go into Canvas, I don't see this course in
Have you signed up for it yet?
I'm not sure.
Let me
I mean,
look.
how
would you know? Well,
how would I know?
You would see. Okay. Let me find the tile.
I have the 1919
No,
or
you would see
2019,
this.
2021, but
No, you would see this one, 2020, 2021.
yeah, I haven't got it. So
Okay,
how do I get it?
Have you sent in a request to be enrolled?
I don't know. Who do I send it to?
No, there's a form you have to fill out. Let me find that link.
So maybe I haven't.
I
mean, it's funny because I signed up for the flock thing, but that's not the same thing.
That's not the same thing, no. Okay, I'm just having to search for that here. Just a second. I had that up just a little while ago and took it down. Let's see. D. Where is it?
Well, if I don't finish, I have to start all over again?
I'm sorry?
I said, so if I don't finish, I have to start all over again? I can't just save what I have?
Yeah, but remember, if anything you've done in your practice course will still be there. If you just save a copy of everything you've either typed in or uploaded as a file, you may have to copy and paste into a Word document or something. If you save that stuff you've done, you'll be able to go and enter it into the new one very quickly.
Oh.
Without having to think about it and research it again and so on. You won't have to do the reading again or anything like that. That you've already done that. It's not going to change that much between last semester and this semester, or last year and this year. And so you may be, if you don't finish by tomorrow night at midnight, you maybe have made yourself an extra hour or two's work in the new course, but no more than that. It's not the end of the world.
All right.
And I'm looking for that.
It's better to finish and not pass than not finish.
Right. As long as everything is submitted, you're going to have a chance to resubmit.
Okay.
And bring your grade up. One thing on the quizzes, if you're thinking that's a possibility, don't take any quiz more than once.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, because once you take the quiz twice, you can't take it again.
Oh.
So don't tree the quizzes. Take them once, but don't take them the second time, so you'll have another attempt available to do better on it.
Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find that.
Well, I better leave and finish, so.
I hear you.
Good
luck.
Good luck.
And it's definitely 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
I will be there 10 o'clock tomorrow morning, same place.
Okay, and I
will
will
be talking, and we'll be talking about the training course again.
Okay, and I will be finished.
That sounds wonderful.
Or crying, one or the other.
All right, or spitting, spitting mad.
Thank you.
Oh gosh, I know I found this. New Spring. No, that's not it. Oh, darn, I should have saved this. I'll find it.
I have no doubt.
Oh, I just sent that to somebody. It's in my sent. there it is.
I guess I just figured I was signed up because they keep sending me stuff.
No, you may be in the current one.
I think maybe, although
yeah, that may be.
I had no intention of doing it by the end of June.
I hear you. So
yeah.
I that's a possibility anyway. Okay, let me see. I just put that on the clipboard. Now I need to send this. Where's Zoom? What did I do with that? There it is. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. You didn't pop. Oh.
Are you looking through the chat?
No, I'm looking through the. That would work, wouldn't it? I didn't think of that.
Because I'm right towards the beginning of that.
I was looking in the district email directory.
Oh yeah, I could just tell you my email.
That may be quicker. Let me see if I run across you very quickly here. Oh, just your name, not your email address. Okay. Yeah, please.
JHANTE.
At SDCCD?
Yeah.
Should have guessed that, shouldn't I? That's you. All right. Enrollment. Oop. Enrollment link for OFCP 2020-2021. There it is, and it's sent. It's in your
Yay.
district mailbox.
Bless your heart.
Just go there, fill out the form, and they'll put you in fairly soon.
Yeah, I want to get started.
I understand.
And done.
Yeah. That I understand too. Okay.
Okay. I am going to go do something else.
I hear you. Yeah. It's going to be that time of day. My goodness.
Yeah. I think it's 5 o'clock somewhere.
Right. The sun passed over the yard arm some time ago.
That's right. That's right.
Up spirits. Anybody else? Anything else?
Everybody else. Oh, can I ask you one other thing?
Of course.
Is there a way for me to use my cell phone to see what my students are seeing when I'm in Zoom?
Yes. You mean in addition, using your cell phone in addition to your computer?
Yeah, because I'm using my computer for
right.
being
You're running the meeting on.
Yes.
Absolutely. Whoops. I was going to show you, but my phone is. There it is. Yeah. It's just about to die, so I better do this quickly. So I'm sharing my screen right now. Yes, I am. Let me get this out of the way. So you're seeing this here.
Mm-hmm.
Now. Let me let the phone catch up to that. Come on. Oh, yeah.
So in your phone, do you just click on the link?
You just log into
go to your Zoom
the
app?
meeting, and my phone seems to be frozen. I think the battery's gone too low. But you just use the app and log the phone into the meeting as just another attendee, and you make sure you got the sound, both the speaker and the microphone muted on the phone. And then you just set it aside somewhere where you can take a glance at it, and it will see.
Because I'm constantly asking my students, can you see this?
Exactly. I do that when I'm not planning on using my phone for something else. I do that on a regular basis so I can see what they're seeing.
Right.
And I don't have to ask myself, whoop, am I sharing my screen? I can look over there and see that I am or that I'm not. So yeah, that's
so
a
if
great
I log
technique.
in with my phone, it's not going to treat me like I'm the meeting host
No,
on my phone?
no, you'll just be another attendee.
Okay. Good.
And you
That's
will
what I
see,
needed.
when you share your screen, you will see it on your phone.
Okay, perfect.
And it will work like a shot.
Having all that experience with Zoom last semester really helped.
Yeah.
I mean, it's painful, but it really helped.
I was going to say it was a heck of a way to have to learn it, but yeah.
It was. It was. But my
it's
students were all in the
amazing.
same boat, you know.
Think how badly off we would have been if we didn't have Zoom.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what we would have done. Because I tell you, the tools that we used to use for this were nowhere near as easy to use or as effective.
Yeah.
And Zoom has just revolutionized this industry.
I had never, until this semester, I had never made a video for my students before. And now I feel like in 5 minutes I can make a video.
Oh, that's so good to hear.
So
yeah, there are
change
good things that will come out of this in the long run.
I
Our
think so.
instruction, when all the dust settles and we're back to where we can enter the classroom again and so on, a lot of people, on average, the quality of instruction will have increased quite a bit because people will be using tools that they never knew how to use before that are really beneficial to their students.
Right. Right.
So that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning that. It's great to hear.
Yeah, it's all good. So
okay,
go enjoy your evening.
You too. Have a great time. And I hope I'll see you again soon.
Oh, you will.
Take care.
Take care. Thank you.
Bye-bye.